Talk shoes. Recorded live.
Welcome to the Lost Lowdown, podcast number 47, with your hosts, Claude and Justin.
What's up, guys?
We're talking about episode 410, Something Nice Back Home. Jack-centric episode. So, what'd you think?
Well, I don't know. So, I'd say maybe half of this episode is kind of really lame to me. It's kind of a sequel to Eggtown, and that's bad news.
Eggtown didn't need a sequel.
Not at all. And Jack, he hadn't been around for a while, and I guess they had to do something with him. But it kind of took a turn and went into weird territory. I mean, the issues raised by this episode are issues that haven't come up for a while.
Mm-hmm.
And it was kind of nice in a way to get back to that, and it didn't really give us information. Like last episode, I feel like they sort of gave us a lot.
Mm-hmm.
This one, it was all about.
This was set up, yeah.
Yeah, it was all about setup and intrigue and trying to make things, mysterious, not in giving concrete answers. And I guess for me that's my favorite Lost mode. So I enjoyed that part of it. But overall it was mixed to me because some of the stuff I found to be incredibly boring.
Mhm.
So averaged out, I think this is a solid 7.2 out of 10.
All right.
For me.
Yeah. Ditto.
Okay. Well, it's nice to be agreed with.
I think that covers I liked it.
Yeah. I mean, it really went places that I never would have guessed based on how it kind of starts.
Mm-hmm.
And I was pleased as the thing went on. But like early in the episode, I was just groaning constantly.
Oh yeah.
It's just like, oh God, this and now that, and oh, who cares? But they managed to do something with it. So.
Oh, they did something.
In the end, this is a good episode. I'm just about ready to give up trying to mentally rank them, but I'd
probably write them down. Write your rank down at some point.
Yeah, I should do that. That would probably be wise.
Is that the solution? I think it is.
Yeah. I would say. It was so different from last week. I don't know.
Mhm.
This episode was kind of in the vein of the first episode. It had that it was that kind of episode.
Yeah, something about Jack. When you focus on Jack, things get like, I don't know. Things just get more down to earth, I think.
Yeah.
And I say that even though weird shit happens in this episode. But it's a different feeling when Jack's at the center of things, and from the flash forward, we know that he's we're filling in the gaps between what we saw, from the beginning of the timeline, post Island until what we know of when Jack wants to go back, and he's he's on drugs and he's drinking and all that, and so this is like filling in that part of it, and and answering questions like it seems like Kate and Jack end up together at least for a little while, and stuff like that, and it's interesting. It had a lot of interesting stuff about it. It was some fairly surprising things too.
Yeah. I guess in a way it is a sequel to the first episode also.
Mm-hmm.
It kind of picks up where that and Eggtown. And the other notable thing about it to me is that it's as opposed to the general pattern for this season, it's a flash forward that actually, moves beyond one of the previous flash forwards. The general pattern in this season seems to be going backwards.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that we had last week was the setup for The Economist. You know, saying what happened before that. And the other two flash forwards that I just mentioned were before this. So we're starting to move in the direction of catching up to the finale. And I think now that I've seen this episode, I get a better sense of what Jack's problem was.
Mm-hmm.
Like they didn't make it clear in the finale why he was so distraught.
Yeah.
They never really showed that, I don't think. And now it's starting to get a little more plausible.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I would guess, hopefully by the end of the season, we'll have a full picture of how it got there.
Yeah, definitely. All right. Well, this is you got the first half.
So the title is just this line that Bernard says.
Mm-hmm.
And if anyone knows about the title of the finale, I think this title goes strangely with that title.
Are you saying this season's finale or last season's finale?
This season's finale.
Oh, okay. I don't know what the title is.
We read it at a certain point.
Yeah, I knew at one point. I forget.
Yeah. I won't say it for spoiler purposes, but I think once we get there, I think it's a weird one to pair with this title. But whatever, I'll maybe I'll mention that again later. But okay, so I'm supposed to take over, and we'll scene by scene it then.
Mhm.
Okay, so let's see. All right. In the first scene, we open on Jack's eye. Juliet is waking him up. She asks him if he's okay. Meanwhile, Bernard is confronting Dan about the lack of a signal on the sat phone. Dan and Charlotte deny having knowledge of why the people on the freighter are not answering. Jack says that he knows they're lying, but that the people on the freighter will eventually come for Dan and Charlotte, and they will be waiting for them. Jack has some more abdominal pain, and then he collapses. So that's the first scene. Did you want to say something about that scene?
I don't think there's really anything to say except, I think, Charlotte asked, how are we supposed to know why they're not answering? It's like, obviously Charlotte and Dan are in a tough position because, as the audience knows, the crew on the ship, isn't unified. People signed up for various reasons, for different things, and, they're not all behind, Charlotte and Dan aren't necessarily involved with what's going on totally with the freighter and the people on the freighter. So it's, it's the beginning of that whole, and Jack says, yeah, I know they're lying, but I don't think they're lying about, this particular instance.
About not knowing? Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, how can they know? Do they have any idea what's going on that freighter? Like, maybe they have a slight inkling, but I feel like things have deteriorated considerably since they left.
Yeah.
So yeah, I really do feel like they aren't lying about that. But there's a suggestion here that we're headed for some kind of repeat of season 3 finale where the boat people show up and they attack them somehow again. I don't really want that to happen.
I thought it was weird. I guess Jack is just like, well, that's the only thing we can do is just wait for him. Like he's used to that.
Yeah.
So that's his modus operandi now. It's like, well, we'll just wait for them and ambush them.
Yeah.
Who's to say they're coming back for Charlotte and Dan?
I know. I didn't think it was obvious that they would.
Yeah.
I mean, it does seem like they ought to be doing something, but maybe that Tempest thing was their only mission. I mean, I find that odd, but I guess it's possible. And that as far as Widmore cares, as long as they do that, they can be left behind.
Mhm.
So. But who knows? I don't know. I don't know what they're doing. Okay, so shall I go to the next scene?
Yep.
All right. So the next scene is a flash forward. Jack is sleeping in bed, and he is shirtless, among other clothes.
Among other clothing deficiencies.
Yeah. The phone rings. Someone is confirming an appointment for that day. Jack gets up. He picks up a pair of panties on the floor. He goes downstairs. He picks up a little spaceship toy thing.
Well, it's a little more than that, I think.
Dropping some hints. Oh, what is it? What do you mean?
Well, it's the Millennium Falcon from Star Wars.
Oh, the Millennium Falcon. All right. Sorry, I've seen it, but I didn't.
It's a little more than a spaceship toy.
Oh,
I think.
excuse me. Wow. Wow. What have I done? That's yeah.
I just know we have fans that are offended by that.
Yeah, I'm sure you're right. Yeah, I guess it would be. It's a spaceship. Who cares? All right, Millennium Falcon. I didn't recognize it. So they're dropping hints here. So he makes coffee. He looks at the paper. Notes the Red Sox losing. He goes into the bathroom where an unidentified woman is taking a shower. This woman apparently bought Jack a razor, and before too long, the woman emerges, and it's revealed to be none other than Kate.
What?
Yeah. Woo. So they have a little kiss. And that's lost.
I thought that was probably, and there was another episode that was really bad about this, but this was at least probably the first or second worst, openings, I think. I didn't expect them to go to Lost after they kiss,
Yeah.
Obviously it's, the idea is, oh, look, they're in the future and they're together and that's supposed to be a big thing, but who didn't think it was Kate? They went through a lot of trouble to make her voice sound different because, that was not her voice.
I wish they wouldn't do that.
I bought you a razor.
Yeah.
And it's like, come on. I really, I totally agree with you. I really wish they wouldn't do that. I feel like the 5 seconds of suspense of who it is, when most people probably can guess who it is really not worth it. I feel like, just don't have the person talk then.
It just feels artificial,
it's
to
so
have
bad.
them, go well, Jack, I bought you a razor.
Yeah. It's just, I feel like it's really needless. We, of all the things that Lost can do, we don't need them to do that. Spend time doing something else. Just tell us it's Kate, fine, it's Kate. Or have her not say anything.
Yeah, they could have her not say anything, or they could just let her speak normally and let us discover, some people will not get it immediately.
Yeah, exactly.
Some people won't necessarily recognize her voice. I immediately assumed it was her, but...
Of course. I knew it was her house from when he came down the stairs. I could tell it was the same set. So I'm like, well, he's obviously in Kate's house.
Yeah.
So who else is it going to be? But that whole thing of altering the voice and ooh, who is it? Who could it be? It's not like they're going to introduce some new character here.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's if they're shrouding in mystery, it's going to be someone we know.
Mm-hmm.
And if it's going to be someone we know, the candidates are few.
Yeah.
Who else could it be? It pretty much has to be someone in the Oceanic Six.
Yeah.
And that narrows
so
it down a lot.
It was either Kate or Saeed.
Yeah, exactly.
And
I bought you a razor, Jack.
I don't like your scruff.
You should grow your hair so we can flop it on each other.
Oh, God. That's a mental image I don't need.
I love Saeed's floppy hair, but yeah, it's just there's just something irritating about their feeling the need to do that.
Mm-hmm. And this is what, the third time or something?
Yeah, yeah.
Or second at least.
Let me think. What?
They did it to Ben.
The obvious one was the Ben one. I feel like they did it another time also.
I think they did.
Oh, they kind of did it with Michael.
They tried to do it with Michael.
Yeah.
Yeah, they tried to do that with Michael too. Yeah.
They had him like do a weird voice. They might have done another time. It's been the season for that device.
Mhm.
And yeah, it's just I don't know. I mean, I feel like even they ought to get tired of doing it. Like,
I don't think you get any use out of it. I feel like once you figure out who it is, you just realize. I mean, even if an audience member who didn't know it was Kate and hears the voice and then realizes it's Kate when they see Kate, then they're going to think that wasn't Kate's voice.
Yeah.
And it's just obvious manipulation.
Mm-hmm.
And it just seems really useless because I don't feel like they really get that much out of it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the benefit isn't that great that,
Mm-hmm.
It's really worth all that nonsense. And if they did it once, if they weren't doing it all the time, and if it were really a shocking thing, like, maybe I could let it go, but they just keep doing it, and it doesn't even it's not even worth it.
Yeah.
So okay. So the next after the lost credits, we're still in the flash forward. Jack is reading a story to Aaron. Kate looks in on Jack. Aaron falls asleep. Jack leaves the room. Kate tells Jack that he is a natural. Jack says, "My old man used to read me that story." Kate says, "It's nice to hear you say nice things about your dad." Jack says, I don't do that. Jack concludes that his dad was a good storyteller. Kate says she loves seeing Jack with Aaron, and she's glad that Jack is there. So they kiss and embrace and walk off into another room with Jack carrying Kate. Let's see.
I wonder what they're going to go do.
The taxes.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, the big thing with this is the line, I'm so glad you changed your mind. Kate tells Jack she loves seeing him with Aaron and that she's glad he changed his mind.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm assuming that means when he had at some point told her he didn't want to be there or with her and Aaron or just with Aaron or.
Yeah, that was from Eggtown when Jack talks to Kate in the little parking lot, and she's like, if you want to see me, you have to see Aaron or spend time with him or whatever. And it's sort of implied that he doesn't want to do that. He doesn't want to see Aaron. That was something we talked about back then.
Yeah, I mean, I remember that. It just seems weird to me that, unless this is his first, night, and, unless, this is his, first day there, it's weird that, that's what she's talking about, Because he never said, I mean, I don't know, from Eggtown, I didn't get the sense that he was dead set against it, just that he really wasn't ready to do it. Because he wanted to see Kate, and he was, blah, 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 and she's like, well, you got to see Aaron, too, and he's like, well, no, but it just seems weird. If he's been there for a while, it seems weird that she would say that, but, I'm just wondering if there was something else he said specifically, but I guess for now I'll assume that's what she's talking about.
Yeah, okay, well, that's my assumption, at least.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's this is one of those scenes where I'm just like, oh my god, what show am I watching?
Mm-hmm.
But they're setting stuff up, and I'll allow it. I feel like that scene could have been better, but whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like when it's time to go for sentimentality, I don't like the way they do it normally. So anyway, the next scene is back on the beach. Everyone's worried about Jack. Jack gets up and says he's fine. That's pretty much the scene. The next scene, I don't know. Not much happened there. Did you?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's it.
All right. So the next scene is Sawyer, Miles, Claire, and the baby are trekking through the jungle. Sawyer asks Claire if she's okay. Claire says she's, at least she isn't seeing things anymore. Miles says, "What did you see?" Sawyer shuts him down. Suddenly, Miles senses something. After a bit, we sort of hear some noises from his perspective, I guess. After a bit, he says, "Who's Danielle and Carl?" Claire says, "You mean Rousseau, the French woman?" Miles digs in the dirt a bit, and he uncovers 2 dead bodies. Sawyer asks Miles how he knew they were down there. Then he asks if Miles's buddies did this. Miles says, "They're not my buddies, man. I didn't sign up for this." Claire wants to leave, being frightened by the dead bodies, I guess. And Sawyer tries to comfort her. So that's the scene.
Mhm.
Okay, so I am taking this as I'm taking this as confirmation that in fact Rousseau and Carl are dead. In case you know, any lingering doubts I had about that are kind of shut down by the scene. It serves that purpose as well as to have Miles kind of do something with his strange ability. For once, you know, after a very, very, very long time where he's just been sitting around.
Well, Locke had him captured in a boathouse for a while.
He didn't really get the chance.
With a grenade in his mouth, so he couldn't really do a lot.
Yeah. No, he couldn't, but nonetheless, it's I don't know. It's gone unmentioned for a while, so they sort of bring that back up and have this thing. So did you want to say something about this scene?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it was interesting to finally see what happened to Rousseau and Carl. I thought maybe Danielle might still be alive, even though we didn't see her. We haven't seen her since she got shot. I thought, well, maybe she made it out, maybe, but I'm willing to believe the dead bodies are theirs, since I think that's what they are. Yeah, I think case is closed on that. In terms of Claire, she says that she's better. She just has a bit of a headache, and that at least she's not seeing things anymore. We talked about this for a second off podcast, right. But there's some theories out there which I tend to agree with, that potentially Charlie came to Claire before or shortly before her house was exploded, and that's why she was sort of saved. I mentioned last podcast that it looked like she was kind of outside near her laundry, and that maybe she was doing her laundry. But this is more interesting than that.
Yeah. It is.
Yeah, and we know that Charlie and Christian of late like to appear to people, so I think it makes sense. And I believe there was supposed to be a deleted scene about that.
Yes.
That shows that happening.
Good old original fan number 1, Vicky H. Said that there was a deleted scene where Charlie led Claire out of the house. I don't know where she got that from, but it's certainly plausible from what's happened in the last episode and this one.
Yeah.
So, because the way it's playing out now, it's just sort of like that we can still assume that it happened. We just didn't get to see it.
Yeah, it makes sense. It really, really makes sense.
It does. Yeah, it helps a lot of things. It gives a more interesting explanation for why she's alive. And I do think she's alive, at least at this moment in the episode.
Yeah.
And so I like that about it.
Yeah. All right.
Is that okay? Did I want to say something else about this? Oh, I do think it's odd that I guess we're supposed to believe Kimi and his men buried these bodies.
Oh, yeah, I wanted to mention that, too. Yeah, I thought it was weird that they were buried, and I'm assuming Keamy and those guys buried them just because, just to hide the fact that, they killed them, basically.
Yeah, it was a surface-level burial, but...
Yeah, they didn't really spend a lot of time, obviously,
yeah.
doing it, but, more the better for Miles to dig them up.
Mm-hmm.
But that was the other thing I was thinking, if Miles wasn't around to sort of confirm that they're dead, I think they probably would have just had the bodies not be buried, and Claire and Sawyer would have just, stumbled upon them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think you're right. Oh, man. All the possibilities.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Is there anything? I feel like there was more here. Oh, Miles saying, what did you see? That was the other thing I wanted to bring up. Maybe I should bring it up later. I don't even know. It's about Claire. Miles had that line in the last episode where Claire comes in and someone asks how she is, and she's like, "Well, I'm hurt, but I'll live." And Miles goes, "I wouldn't be so sure about that."
Oh, really?
Yeah. Yeah. Do you not recall that?
I don't remember that
particular line. Yeah, it was weird. At the time, I really thought shut up, Miles. You're always saying something irritating, But in retrospect, I do wonder what was going on, because he seems to be interested in Claire for some reason, and so I do wonder what they're doing with that. If we're supposed to believe there's something strange going on there with her.
Yeah, she says, yeah. Sawyer says, "Are you all right, sweetheart?" "Yeah, a bit wobbly, but I'll live." And he says, "Well, I wouldn't be too sure about that."
Yeah.
I think at the time I thought they were talking about he was talking about the situation there.
He was just saying they were in imminent danger.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
now with this, I mean, he does seem to be interested in her. I mean, a little bit. I mean, that even in this episode, he Sawyer makes him leave her alone, but it didn't really seem like, I don't know. I couldn't really get a grasp of what was going on. He kept just looking at her, and he tried to help with the baby, and
Mhm.
I don't know what they're doing there. But
yeah, I don't either. I mean, it wasn't the most important thing in the world to him.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, he did seem to be more interested in her than he would be, I would think ordinarily.
Yeah, and I don't see, why, even given his abilities, that he would necessarily know that she's going to die or know anything like that. So,
I agree.
I don't know.
Although he can apparently turn off the sonic sense, or sense if it's on, or something. Although maybe that's not true anymore since they cut that scene. But I do wonder if he has some other abilities besides talking to dead people or sensing dead. Because it seemed like when they came upon Alex and Carl and Danielle, that he heard the scene playing out in his mind.
Mhm. I think he sort of he was able to kind of relive what happened in that space. And I think that's why, when he wanted to see Naomi, that's why he wanted to see her body, as he could sort of tell what happened. He probably
you're right.
Relive that whole thing. So I think it's a little bit more than just being able to talk to them. It's something about sharing their experience, I think.
Mhm.
Because you heard the gunshots, and you can tell he was kind of reliving that.
So if Claire really is dead, which I don't think she is, then maybe he can sense something about her.
Well, yeah, I mean, if she's I'll live, and he already knows that she's dead, then yeah, I mean, obviously Claire, at the end, Claire goes off with Christian, and we know that, Aaron ends up with Kate. So, you know, this could be the last time we see Claire.
Yeah.
For all we know. I doubt it. I mean...
I doubt it, too.
I mean, I guess what I mean is...
we'll see her in one form or another, but...
Yeah, I mean, we'll see her, but I mean, this is the last time we might see her alive.
Alive, in quotes, yeah.
Exactly. I did quotes when I did that. So, I don't know. I mean, I just don't think that she died in that explosion. I mean, that's just... I don't see why anyone else would be able to see her and interact with her, and why she would have a cut on her head. And, you know,
that's good. The other thing is, if Charlie really let her out, it's kind of silly if she just dies anyway.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know, like, what's the point of him leading her out if she's just going to die?
Yeah.
You know.
Well, she dies a little bit less.
She does a little less. Okay. Mm-hmm. All right. Well, you know, it's just better to die a little bit less.
Mm-hmm. Than to die all the way.
All right.
Next scene.
They're not my buddies. I didn't sign up for this. Okay. Yeah. Okay, so the next scene, we are back to the beach. Juliet visits Jack in a tent and asks him what he thinks is wrong with him. Jack says, food poisoning. Juliet disagrees. She asks Jack to lift up...
Sorry, I just think that excuse is really funny, and I'll tell you why later.
Okay. This is kind of a long scene, so maybe I'll do a pause at a certain point. Anyway, she asked Jack to lift up his shirt so she can kind of check him out. She puts her hand on his abdomen and pokes around and concludes that it's your appendix, Jack. She asks when the pain started. He says, yesterday. He also says that it has not ruptured yet. Juliet says, we're going to have to take it out.
Mm-hmm.
And all this is kind of connected, but we go to a different thing here after that. So what was your comment?
Well, I just thought it was funny. You know, they've basically been eating the same food for the last 90-something days, and all of a sudden something Jack ate gave him food poisoning. You know, I just thought that was really a bad excuse. You know, we learn a lot more about Juliet's medical prowess in this episode.
Yeah.
I didn't think she could do surgery or had ever really done surgery. I thought she was more of a researcher.
She said that. You should have thought that. Yeah, I agree.
Mistakenly believed her. All of a sudden, she's a surgeon. I mean, you know, doing, you know, as Bernard says, common surgery, but still surgery nevertheless.
Yeah, and she talks about a residency. I don't really know how it works, but I guess I imagine she would get a PhD in something like, I don't know, reproductive biology, or I don't know what the word is for her field, but you know, a PhD in that field, as far as I know, would not require residency. It would just be a matter of doing a research project, you know, in that field that, you know, that is judged to be good. And so that's, you know, that's the kind of doctor I was led, and, you know, she didn't help by saying it pretty much, that I was led to believe that she was, not someone who would have had a residency. You know, someone who spends their time in a lab all the time isn't treating patients.
Yeah, it makes it, I mean, maybe she wanted to be a medical doctor and did a residency and then decided to just switch to research. Who knows? You know, or maybe they're just making this up because now they need her to do surgery.
Yeah.
I also thought it was weird that she asked if his appendix had ruptured, because I would imagine it would be fairly obvious. Because I thought the whole point was if it ruptures, he would be in imminent death. You know,
yeah, that's what she said.
And at very least extreme pain. And he wasn't really in extreme pain. Obviously, he was hurt, but he wasn't in like extreme pain. And I just thought it was, I just thought it was weird that she asked if it had ruptured. Like, how is she just asking him in terms of it would, you know, how much does it hurt? Like, if it hurts a whole bunch, then obviously it's ruptured. You know, and maybe if he had said it did rupture, they would have, you know, tried to do this faster or something. But it was just weird that she asked that.
Mhm.
Because I thought even her exam might be able to tell her. You know, I don't know what you can tell by, you know, an abdominal
Poking
exam
around.
from an appendix,
Yeah.
but I thought maybe she
Don't
could be able
either.
to tell just from that. But anyway, next scene.
All right. Bear with me. I'm not at my computer at the moment.
We're doing a podcast here.
Sorry.
Did we interrupt your day?
Yeah, well, you know, there's laundry to do, there's floors to sweep, and, you know.
We can come back later.
Chores wait for no man. No, I got it. The next scene, which is really kind of part of the same sequence, I'd say, Juliet is giving a list of supplies to get from the medical station to Sun. Sun says she doesn't know what the instruments look like, so Dan volunteers, saying he did some work with those instruments, that type of instrument. Someone says, I got confused. Someone says no, right?
Rose says no, we can't trust them.
Oh, okay. I thought I just heard someone just go no. I don't know. like I don't know, like some weird just voice from the ether, just
Jacob.
no. Yeah, something like that. I don't know. And I got lost. So okay, Rose, I guess, is the one who says don't trust them. Charlotte says that they meaning the Losties don't trust them, meaning Dan and Charlotte. So they might as well just keep playing the part of the untrustworthy people. Dan says that Charlotte's bad attitude is why they don't trust them. Dan asks Juliet to let them help. So Juliet relents, but gives Jen a gun with instructions to shoot them in the leg if they try to do anything suspicious. Okay, so then we kind of switch. Juliet marches over to a group of red shirts, and Kate's in there too. Gives them instructions for setting up an operating environment. Kate asks why not just take Jack to the medical station, something I was asking myself. Juliet says if we move him there, there's a good chance his appendix will rupture, and if that happens, he's going to die.
So if his appendix would have been ruptured before, he would have already been dead. So why did she even ask that question if it had ruptured?
It is pretty strange, yeah.
It's so strange.
Yeah.
I guess if he was like, yeah, it ruptured, she would be like, okay, well, you're dying, Jack.
Well,
you
dead.
got like 5 minutes and you're dead.
Yeah.
This scene, it was weird, you know. It's always interesting hearing the scene described and not just watching it because you pick up on different things. But, like, why does Charlotte even go with Dan? Like, Dan is the one who knows what they look like.
She really shouldn't be.
You know, the only reason she goes is because of the whole thing with Jen later.
Yeah,
That's the only reason Charlotte needs to go. Because if they were concerned about trusting them and them running off, they could have just said, well, Charlotte, stay here, and Dan, go. And Dan, if you don't come back, Charlotte's going to be in trouble. That would have been how they would have handled it if Charlotte did need to go do that whole thing with knowing Korean and all that plot line.
Yeah, because she's just not really helping.
She didn't do anything. She really didn't help anything.
Yeah,
when
really,
she
like, Son doesn't need to go either. Really, Jen can go with the gun and Dan can get the instruments. That would be a reason.
Well, Son needs to go because they don't know that. Just in well, I guess Jen speaks enough English these days. Yeah, I was gonna say for the English part of it.
For purposes, yeah.
But I guess he speaks enough.
He seems to. He's enough for the mission they have.
Yeah.
So
yeah. Plus, Son has to go because she knows where it is.
Oh, she knows where the medical station is. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
That's why she has to go.
Yeah, that makes sense. I forgot about that. God, there's a lot of stuff going on these days. Okay.
Yeah.
Gotta keep it all straight. Fair enough. Charlotte's the dead weight.
Yeah, Charlotte's definitely the dead weight.
This makes it clear to me that I do now feel. I mean, well, they say something about it later, but it really does seem like this Jack appendicitis thing is just kind of superfluous drama.
I can't imagine. I mean, the fact that it goes back to the flash forward, paradox where we know he's going to survive this.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking when Juliet says he's going to die. I'm like, no, he's not. He's going to be fine.
Yeah, it's like we know he survives it, and it's like well, what's the point? I was reading someone talking about this, and they were basically saying, well, it can't just be for the drama, the suspense of it, because we know that he survived. So what's the whole point of this? Why even have Jack get sick? And I hope there's some reason other than they just needed something to do.
Yeah, so do I. So do I. Because these days it's better if you're going to put a character in jeopardy and you want us to think they're in jeopardy. It really should not be someone who's had a flash forward.
Yeah.
Because that just removes. And on the other hand, if it's someone who you've suggested is dead, that's different too. Because now you're expecting them to die.
Mm-hmm.
And so if they get in a dangerous situation, you're just thinking, well, I guess they're going to die now.
Yeah, like Claire, like Claire's like, well, at a certain point, she might die or something,
Yeah. Yeah. And so it's not really suspenseful in the same way, because you're not stuck on the idea that you want them to live and hoping that they will. Like, you just know they're going to die at some point, and it's just kind of a waiting game.
Yeah, exactly.
To see when it's going to be. But what can you do? Okay, so is there anything else?
I just wanted to mention that line when Dan says, I'm familiar with surgical instruments, and Julia says, I thought you were a physicist, and like we were talking about earlier, I was just thinking it'd be funny if Dan said, well, I thought you were a researcher.
Yeah. Yeah, that would have been good.
Yeah, touche, Dan.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Good retort.
All right. I'm ready for the next scene.
Okay. In the next scene, we are back with Sawyer's party. Miles is looking at Claire and her baby from a distance. Sawyer comes up to Miles and tells him not to look at her, talk to her, mess with her. He gives Miles a 20-foot restraining order. Sawyer threatens Miles into saying that he understands.
All right. I don't know why Miles is looking at her. I don't know what I don't really know. I don't really know what his interest is.
Yeah, I don't either. But yeah, it's just further development on that line of him just kind of looking at her. You don't really know what he's thinking. Of course, he's not going to say anything. He's the last person to give away his motives.
Mhm.
So.
Whatever they are.
Whatever they are, yeah.
Or whatever they were.
His
I don't even know
$3.2 million
anymore.
plot. Like, I feel bad for his $3.2 million plot. It really, really just died.
Those student loans of his are never getting paid off.
Yeah. Oh, that's a lot of student loans.
Well, he wasn't going to use all of it for student loans.
Oh, okay. I see. Yeah, fair enough. But like the specific figure, like I really thought that was going somewhere. I don't know. Silly me.
Yeah.
The way the plot went.
Silly you.
He just doesn't matter anymore.
Well, I didn't think it was going to matter.
Really?
No, I'm kidding.
Oh.
No, I'm surprised too. But we'll see what happens.
Yeah. Maybe they'll explain that. Maybe he just like I don't know. Maybe he just lost the money gambling or something.
Oh, why he needs that much?
Yeah.
Oh,
I don't know why. I have no reason to think he's a gambler, but whatever. That's just often when people need a specific amount of money, it's because they lost it for some reason.
Yeah.
Or maybe he had to borrow it or something. I don't know. I'm just making shit up. Okay. Anything else about this scene?
Mm-mm.
Okay. So the next scene is back at the beach. Bernard is setting up a surface for the surgery. Rose comes up, and she's got a bucket with some cloths in it, and they both start wiping it down. Bernard tries to reassure Rose that Jack will be okay, thinking she's worried about that. Apparently, Rose is not worried about that. She's wondering why Jack got sick. On the brink of their rescue, Rose does not think that it is just bad luck that their leader got sick when they're about to be rescued. Rose says that people don't just get sick here on the island; they get better. So here's the scene where I think they try to suggest something for this plot that would tie in to some kind of bigger thing going on. The island is angry at Jack for some reason and it's making him sick. I don't know. It's very weird. Something like what happened with Ben and his spinal tumor, maybe. I don't know. I dispute her claim that people don't get sick. They do. It's just, I guess you're saying unless they do other things. And the island makes them sick or something. But I don't know. I can't see that Jack really should be blamed for what he's done. I mean,
Yeah, I don't think she's blaming him, and I don't agree. I don't think he should be blamed. And I don't really even think that this has anything to do with the island and its healing properties. Because to me, I feel like there's some sort of difference between, I don't know, the fact that it's an appendix makes it weird to me. Because that's the kind of thing that, it happens to people that, you need to have your appendix taken out. And, I don't know, it just seems weird. It just seems like it was going to happen anyway, it seems weird to me that, okay, if it has something to do with the island or Jacob or whatever, that it's mad at him and therefore it makes his appendix need to be taken out. That's really weak and stupid because Juliet's there to do it and it goes off without a hitch. So, what's your point, Jacob? I don't, that to me is really, that's a really inept, action to do. I really don't, at this point, feel like that it has anything to do with the island and its healing properties. I feel like I feel like it is just kind of bad luck.
Yeah.
Or, it's just something that happens. Now if Jack had gotten cancer, if it was something that, on that end of it or something more like Rose and Ben, a more life-threatening condition that isn't as, well, I mean, cancer's pretty common but these days, but you know what I mean? I don't know. I feel like it's really not in that territory yet. If it was something else, I'd be like, well, maybe it has something to do with Jacob, but at this point, I don't think it does. Now, if Jack's wound didn't heal or if it got worse, his incision where she cut him and things like that, I might be more inclined to say, the actual healing, part of it. But at this point, I don't think it has anything to do with Jacob or the island.
Yeah. But you do think that Rose is trying to suggest that there's something going on.
Well, I think Rose, obviously Rose doesn't have the whole picture. I mean, to her, yeah, it's true. She got better, Locke got better. That's what she expects, So in her, yeah, she's definitely suggesting that this shouldn't happen. People shouldn't get sick here. But like you said, we know people do get sick there.
Yeah, I mean, if you want a few examples, there's various quibbles with these examples, but whatever. I just thought about it for a little bit. Shannon had asthma. Of course, she had it before the island, but it didn't go away when she crashed on the island. The marshal seemed to have some kind of sickness as a result of his injuries. Maybe that's unfair, but whatever, there it is. You also had Charlie got sick when he quit heroin, which, whatever. And then the key one, the one that fits the profile a little better, is Aaron got sick, and that was the impetus for maternity leave.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Aaron was sick, and she felt like the medicine she needed, or the cure, was in the medical station. You know, it was
Yeah.
the stuff that Ethan been giving her, and so. But the baby really was sick, and eventually it just ended up like getting better or whatever. But it got sick.
Yeah, and it had a rash at one point too. You know, there was some point where he had a rash. That's the thing. It's like, you know, yeah. Some of your examples, I think, are, you know, I feel like the thing with the island is, obviously, if you get shot, I don't know. I mean, it doesn't heal you instantly. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It doesn't necessarily work that way. I mean, look at Goodwin. I mean, he fell on that stick. He didn't get back up. You know, like,
yeah.
It's like, you know, you're in at a certain point, you're dead. And the island, I think if Locke got shot in the head, I really don't think the island could do anything about that. Maybe it could. I just don't think I don't think it could fix that. You get shot in the shoulder or something, yeah, it can, like, you know, help you heal a little faster, you know, as long as you don't lose too much blood, you're fine, no infection and stuff like that. But something like with the marshal who was really injured, you know, maybe
Sawyer
he had,
fits in that category too after he got shot and was carried across the island. He really had a similar kind of sickness problem.
Yeah, exactly. And the thing with Charlie, I mean, I think they were saying that there was something weird going on because didn't he get over his withdrawals like really quickly?
Yeah, that's true.
You know, like he was feeling the symptoms, but it wasn't as bad as if they made it seem like it would have been worse if he was off the island. You know, because he was Dick to Heron.
Yeah, but then on the other hand, you have Locke being instantly able to walk upon his, crashing there. You know, not sort of gradually being able to, use his legs.
Yeah, true. Well, that's the thing. I think it depends on what the problem is, and it depends on, like, I mean, for all we know, Locke could have had, it could have been some physical thing in his spine, and the crash realigned something, and unpinched a nerve or something. Like, I don't know what what doctors would say is the answer, but yeah, I mean, that's the thing. There's so many examples, and they don't all fit in the same, in a nice, neat little package. So that's why I think with this one, with Jack, it doesn't really fit in that it's that kind of situation with Locke and Rose, because Rose was, she was supposed to be dead pretty soon too.
Yeah. Yeah, and hers is the kind of thing that could kind of go away gradually. But yeah, all right. I agree. Like, it really does just seem like bad luck. It just seems like if he hadn't crashed, his appendix probably would have had this problem anyway.
Yeah.
And he just would have had to have it taken out in L.A. That is the impression I get. But the fact that they have her say this, and the fact that I wonder what they're doing with this plot, makes me want to think that maybe they're really trying to say it ties into that. And maybe it'll just be one of those things that, that's just another example of this, and it doesn't really matter much beyond that or something. I don't know. But I feel like they're trying to say that maybe it has something to do with that. This is the first time we've seen Rose talk to Bernard about this, and right? About what?
Oh wait, maybe we did. Did Rose ever tell Bernard that the island healed her?
Yeah, she said that way back in SOS. That was the end of the episode where.
Oh, that's right.
Where she says that she got better on the island, and he's like, "Well, then we can stay here forever."
Oh, that's right. Yeah. That's what I was thinking. Okay. I don't know. I feel like they're just asking the question because I think audiences would ask the question, why doesn't he get better? Why is he sick? Because people get better here. I think that's the only reason that's here. I mean, we'll see what happens. I just don't see it really tying into anything else at this point.
Okay. Yeah, I kind of don't either. I hope that it does somehow. Okay. So shall I go to the next scene, or you finished? Okay. So in the next scene, Juliet is shaving Jack's stomach. Juliet tells Jack that she did appendectomies during her residency. Jack suggests that she's shaving the wrong area. Juliet says she's just cleaning the area. Jack decides he wants to talk her through it, the procedure. He wants Kate to hold a mirror so that he can observe and direct the operation. Juliet agrees to that, and that's the end of the scene. So, this plot is strange, like, because he ends up like losing it very quickly, and they just knock him out and do it. Like, you know, I don't know if maybe this is just an excuse to bring Kate into things, or I don't know, but this is an odd little thing to me. You know, that he wants to do this, and then it turns into he's just in pain, and they just knock him out. You know, almost immediately. You know, so I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I think it has to do with Kate. I mean, I think this whole thing is really about Kate, Jack, and Juliet. I mean, it all culminates to that final scene when, you know, when Juliet and Kate are talking, and Jack is obviously conscious and listening, a la Ben.
Yeah,
I thought the same thing too because you know Lost is really, you know, I don't know. They cut to that shot of Jack like when Juliet's talking to Kate later, and they show Jack like, you know, unconscious, and I'm like, he's totally awake. And then at the end she's like, I know you're awake. I'm just like, come on, guys. You know, like, if you really want to make it, you know, I don't know. They shouldn't have showed that shot of him if they wanted us to not think about whether he was awake or not. Yeah.
Well, perhaps to my detriment, I didn't think about it.
You didn't think about it?
It actually surprised me. No, I really took the shot of him just as, oh yeah, Jack's here.
Well,
Jack recovering, like, you know, it never occurred to me that he was awake until she said that.
I'm really discerning when it comes to this stuff. I wish they could fool me on certain things, but stuff like that, I don't know. It just makes sense that he's, you know, I don't know, that he's awake, and
yeah,
you know, and I think that's also part of the reason that they knock him out is so they can have that little surprise element.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I think you're right.
All right, I'm done with this scene.
Okay. Yeah, we already talked about Juliet. Okay, the next scene is a flash forward. Let's see. Jack is... Where is he?
At the hospital.
Yeah, he's at the hospital. Is that what this is?
Or it's not a hospital. It's actually like a private practice, I think.
Yeah, it seems
it's like I think the sign said something like neurosurgery, like, I don't know what they called it, but some sort of like group of doctors who all have their own little special place.
Yeah. Okay. So he's working in a different environment than he used to. Right. So Jack's talking to a patient and doing his little doctor thing, and he tells him no solid food, and the patient leaves. Jack sees someone. He notices someone, the back of someone who looks like Christian Shepherd, and he's looking at him, and the music is swelling when a colleague from behind interrupts his looking and asks him to look at an X-ray.
This is Erica.
Yeah.
Who Jericho fans will know as Dawsey. Her husband had this weird accent. I don't know what kind of accent he was trying to do, because he's British, but he was doing some weird accent, and he would always say Dawsey.
Doll, see?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I've never seen Jericho, so someday if I watch Jericho, I'll say, oh,
Yeah.
look, there's Erica.
Exactly. You'll be like, there's that lady from Lost.
I don't know. It's I didn't think much of her, but they did use her character a little bit here.
Yeah, they used her a little bit. It's nice to see her here.
Yeah. It's sad that show got canceled. It seemed like something that, from hearing about the plot, it seemed like something that deserved to play out.
I couldn't agree with you more. I think that storyline in our current political climate is so relevant. I can't even, what they were talking about and doing on that show, I think is really important. And it was really well done. And I thought the ending was pretty good, but I really think it should have really played out the whole way. I mean, if they wrote like a novels of it, or whatever, finished it some other way, I would totally read it because it's such a good story.
Okay, wow.
There you go.
Everybody out there, you know what you have to do.
Go get Jericho, season 1, season 2.
Yeah. Is it out on DVD? If it's not, then
season 2 probably isn't.
Wait till it is, because we certainly don't want you getting it any other way.
No.
Right. So the Jericho woman asked him to look at an X-ray, and the secretary there interrupts to say that someone, I guess Dr. Stillman, is calling from Santa Rosa on behalf of a friend of Jack's. Right. So then we move over to Santa Rosa. Dr. Stillman tells Jack that the friend, who we soon learn is Hurley, refuses to take his meds, and that therapy is useless because Hurley thinks the therapist doesn't exist. The doctor lets Jack into Hurley's room, and then we have this scene that I am inclined to just read the dialogue from. Do you want to read this with me, or shall I just read it myself?
I can read it too if you want.
Because I didn't want to just describe this. It's all dialogue, and to me this is the heart of this episode as far as what it's trying to tell us.
Mm-hmm.
So this is the scene that I wanted to just do verbatim. So okay, so you want to do this?
Yeah.
Who do you want to be?
I don't care.
Okay. God, I don't either. Should I flip a coin?
I'll do Jack.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
You.
Save some time.
All right. Yeah. I'm bad at decisions.
We could just play the scene.
We could do that, but I think I don't know. I'd rather read it.
All right. Hey, Hurley.
Hey, Jack.
Why aren't you taking your meds?
'Cause we're dead. All of us. All the Oceanic Six. We're all dead. We never
Hurley.
We never got off that island.
Hurley, that is not true.
What did you do today?
What did I do today? I woke up, took a shower, Kate and I fed the baby.
I thought you didn't want anything to do with Aaron.
I changed my mind after the trial.
Oh, here's why I thought that. Or one of the reasons. Because he says he changed his mind. And, that's what she said. And I think this also reinforced my idea that that's what they were referring to.
Yeah, I agree, but I still don't. I'm just like, yeah. I mean, that's it. There it is. It's just weird.
sorry to interrupt the flow. Let me continue here. Living with Kate, taking care of Aaron. It all seems so perfect, just like heaven.
Just because I'm happy doesn't mean this isn't real, Hurley.
I was happy too, Jack, for a while anyway. Then I saw Charlie. He likes to sit with me on the bench out on the front lawn. It's pretty cool, actually.
Okay. So what did the two of you talk about?
Well, yesterday he told me you were going to be coming by. He wanted me to give you a message.
A message?
Scrape, scrape, scrape. He made me write it down so I wouldn't mess it up. You're not supposed to raise him, Jack. Does that make any sense?
No, that doesn't make any sense.
Do you think he means Aaron?
Take your meds, Hurley. Just take them.
Hey, Jack. Charlie said someone's going to be visiting you, too. Soon.
Is it Santa Claus?
Yes, it is.
Oh, cool.
And the Easter Bunny, and I don't know.
Okay, now you're just making things up. Easter Bunny, yeah, right.
Yeah, we're men of science. We don't believe in the Easter Bunny. All right, so there's that scene. So the big thing here is they are dangling the possibility in front of us that they're actually dead.
Mm-hmm.
This is a theory that Jack's dad, Anthony Cooper, also suggested when he was on the island. His theory was that they were all in hell.
Mm-hmm.
A little hot for heaven, blah blah blah. That scene. So this theory has already been put forward. But I guess Hurley is saying that they died on the island. Maybe he's saying that they died in the plane crash. I'm not really sure at what point they're supposed to have died.
Mm-hmm.
But at some point they died, and so the idea of them getting off the island, getting rescued, none of that's happening. It's weird to me that this is like, I don't really, his theory troubles me because if it's heaven, then, why is it creepy? Why,
Yeah, Hurley isn't living in heaven. I mean, that's not his perfect world. That's what got me when the doctor said, therapy isn't working because he doesn't believe I exist. And it's like, well, at the very least, if you can have Hurley understand that he is in this institution and he potentially can't leave, and that even if he is dead, he is still experiencing this, and if he wants to get better, he needs to do therapy. And maybe logic doesn't work with a person at this, at his mental state, but just because you're dead doesn't mean you can't do stuff. And it's like and it's just weird to me that would be their afterlife or whatever. Even he says heaven, but whatever it is, like, we're just living our lives as normal. That's what being dead is.
Yeah.
Being dead is Hurley in a mental institution and Jack just being a doctor and having, like, that's it, really?
Yeah.
So why even die?
and Saeed becomes a hitman after Nadia's killed. And,
yeah,
Son's
I feel like
living with her baby with Jen dead, and it really, yeah.
Yeah, it's really strange.
It doesn't seem like a reasonable afterlife. I agree.
And and unless Charlie told him that, I don't see why he would believe that. Because here's Charlie saying you need to go back to the island and blah blah blah, and it's like, I don't know. Maybe they are dead. Because now I'm thinking, I just realized that we've seen the ghosts on the island. And if they're dead, this is stupid. But I'm just thinking, like, what if it's just a really, like, pragmatic thing where they are just ghosts and they just need to go back to the island because that's where they belong?
So, but when did they die? Like that?
Well, they would have maybe died before. I don't know. I mean, he says we never got off that island. I mean, it must have been before they left is when they died. Before they thought they left.
Yeah.
But they were already dead, you know. I don't know. Maybe they're all dead and they all died in the plane crash.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I was thinking maybe he was suggesting, but like if they lived through the plane crash, then like there has to be a point where they died.
Mm.
You know?
Oh, that's the other thing too is you know, if they want to make it seem like okay, they're dead and that they died in the plane crash, then they shouldn't have had all the like hubbub about the plane wreckage being fake.
Yeah,
that's
true.
And the bodies and the pilot's wedding ring not being on, like
yeah, that'd be really weird if like I guess it's possible that like someone did a fake version.
Someone did a fake one, but there's a real one somewhere else. They just didn't know where it was.
Yeah.
Ugh.
It just turns out that they really did die. And so when Naomi said they were all dead, like she was right.
So does that mean that everything that they experience isn't really real? I mean,
yeah,
it seems like
it's
some
ridiculous,
people should be real.
Because it makes
because
you wonder,
think about
like, if they're dead, what about the others? What about, like, Dharma?
You
what
know,
about all this
you know,
other stuff? Like,
you know, Widmore said, you know, he has that line to Ben, I know what you are, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know what that means. I think maybe there's something where you can be dead and still be, you know, seem to be alive.
Is this story really going to go that far?
That's
like
pretty crazy.
Like
the fact that they were dead was what people thought from the pilot. You know?
Yeah, I know. You're right. That theory goes way back.
Yeah, they're all dead.
It takes various forms, but the most common was purgatory.
Mm-hmm.
You know, yeah, you're right. People thought that from the beginning, and they, I mean, just because they're suggesting that in this episode doesn't mean it's true. You know, they've suggested a lot of things, but I don't know. It's just weird to me that they would do this.
Yeah, it is weird that they would.
As pure misdirection.
And I feel like until we see, you know, I want to, you know, I don't want to judge Hurley too harshly here, but I don't even know why he thinks that. You know, he didn't think that last time we saw him in the timeline.
No, that's the thing. He's changed. Like his whole like demeanor seems to have changed since.
Yeah, I want to know what happened since last time we saw him.
Yeah, I mean, we saw Charlie come, but like apparently Charlie just comes all the time and just gives him messages and.
Yeah. Yeah, you know, and the whole thing with Hurley, you know, being good at games and always, you know, getting the, you know, he's playing basketball and he never misses, and like, I mean, is that because he's dead? Like, what is that? That doesn't make any sense.
I forgot about the games. You like that?
Yeah. Huh?
Or bringing it up at least.
Yeah, because it's weird to me. It's just a weird thing that he's got this strange power to like never miss in basketball.
It is a strange power. Yeah, I don't
know. It's really crappy if they're dead, because what does that mean that they get back to the island and, you know, I mean, maybe that's why Jack is, you know, when we see Jack at the end of his rope, he realizes that he's dead and that they're all dead, or maybe some of them are dead, or
but if they're dead, like I don't understand why they have to go back. Like, where did they go? Like, if they're dead, like, where did they go? What does it mean to leave an island if you're dead?
Well, I mean, it would mean that they have that their body, you know, their whatever. I call it a body. I don't know what that means if they're dead, but that they can leave the island and go and potentially interact with live people. I mean, either the plane crashes or something happens and, you know, who's ever dead, they're either all dead or some of them are dead, or who's ever dead at that point is sort of experiencing things in an alternate reality, and it's just sort of all made up. And when they're talking to people who, you know, off the island and who should be alive and doing those things, that it's not really happening. Or the flip side of that is the real world does exist and they are dead and they can still interact and still seem to be alive, but for whatever reason, they're really dead, and if they don't get back to the island,
thinks, but he could.
Yeah, I mean, he seems to think that it's all fake, but we've seen them. I mean, we've seen them interact with people who have, you know, kind of nothing to do with the island,
Yeah.
And it's like, well, if those people aren't real, then it's like, what's the point?
Mhm.
And
if they're dead, I just don't understand why they have to go back to the island.
I would only imagine because that's just where, that's where they died, or that's where they belong. They would make up some reason why they needed to, like, be there. The souls need to be at rest, or maybe that's just where, that's just where they're supposed to be, kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
They weren't supposed to leave because they're, because maybe that's the thing. Maybe, they're not supposed to be around the world affecting things. They're supposed to be on the island because they're dead.
Mhm.
And the island is an isolated place, so maybe that's just what, the idea that they're dead is just, if this was like, the last season and Hurley was saying this, I'd be like, okay, maybe, but we got too far to go for them to really be dead.
It is way too early for the all-encompassing theory to present itself.
Yeah.
And it really just, to me, the death thing just blows a hole in the whole show. Like, it's an easy out, but it just deflates the importance of things.
It's got to be they're dead, but, it's got to be they're dead, but here's why this is interesting. It's got to be more than that, they're just dead, so.
Yeah. If they're dead and they're just, like, able to walk around, I mean, the normal rules are kind of out, and so like, anything that's a mystery just is less interesting because, like, strange things can happen.
Yeah, I mean, but that's the thing. We've seen other people who are really dead, walk around and talk to people and do stuff, and now we see, we saw Christian pick up the baby, and
that's true.
And it's like, well, they seem to be able to interact with people who might be alive and the real world, so maybe they can do that. Who knows? I hope they're not dead, because I think that's not great. But it's just weird. The other thing about this scene, there was something else. Oh, the message. I can't believe that Charlie made him write that line down. It was like 6 words. I just don't know why they had him do that. Like, unless they wanted it to be, well, maybe, like if Hurley didn't say that and if he didn't read it from a piece of paper, they didn't want audiences to, like, speculate that maybe he got it wrong or that wasn't his message or something like that. But it's like, it's 6 words, and it's like, come on, I think Hurley can remember that.
Remember that? Yeah.
It was so weird. He pulls out that piece of paper and he reads 6 words, and I'm like, is that it? That's your whole message? You're not supposed to raise him, Jack. That's so weird to me. That's so weird that Charlie told him to write that down.
It is weird. It is weird, especially because, he ends up talking about how, someone's going to visit Jack, and, like, couldn't the spirit of whoever tell Jack directly?
Yeah, but that's the other thing too. It's like, Charlie said someone's going to be visiting you too. Well, how come Charlie didn't make Hurley write that down?
Yeah, there's that too.
And it's like, well, how come, if you were going to have him, I guess it was like one's a message to Jack and one is just, Charlie just told Hurley
a comment,
that.
not not like you have to tell Jack this. It was just like he told it to Hurley, and so Hurley. Yeah, I think that's right. I think that's what we're supposed to believe. But I just don't. It's just weird that Charlie would. Charlie should be able to visit Jack, or at least.
I don't think he can. I mean, I say can, but I feel like the ghosts that visit the live people, I think have to be really close to them, or it seems to be. I mean, Charlie is coming to Hurley. They're really close, obviously. Obviously, Jack is seeing his dad, and now Claire is seeing her dad. And Echo saw his brother. I feel like there has to be some sort of real close connection for them to come. Because it's like, if Charlie, or if Christian showed up to, Hurley, like that wouldn't be as impactful to Hurley. Hurley wouldn't have any reason to believe him or trust him. There's no history there. And so I feel like at the very least, they're, these ghosts are appearing to the people that they know they can affect.
Yeah. And that's, I mean, that can work the other way where, the writers are making the ghosts the ones that affect the characters because that has more impact for the characters.
Mhm.
You know, but I feel like they ought to be able to visit whoever they want. You know, it makes sense that that's what they show. You know, they show them visiting the people that they're closest to, but like, I just feel like they ought to be able to visit whoever they want.
Mhm.
You know, but whatever. I mean, if it's not Charlie, then Jack's dad can tell him.
Yeah. Oh, tell him you're not supposed to raise him?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. If he ever gets to talk to him.
If he ever gets to talk to him, yeah. Yeah, that's the thing. Jack's dad isn't a talker like Charlie apparently is.
Mhm.
He's just sort of a lurker. It's weird because
he keeps getting he keeps showing up at inopportune times.
Yeah.
I mean, at first he showed up in the middle of a busy day. I mean, he just kind of left. It's not like he even was trying to talk to Jack. And then the second time, it looked like he was going to talk, and then Erica showed up.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. He just has bad timing then.
Yeah.
But you know, there's times when Jack's alone. He should be able to talk to him sometime. You know.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't know how it works. It seems like they've got some sort of agenda. So I don't know if they were like, if Christian and Charlie are in Jacob's cabin and they're talking about what they have to do, and you know, Charlie's like, okay, well, I'll talk to Hurley, and Christian's like, okay, well, I'll get Jack, and like, I don't know. I mean, if Nadia shows up to Saeed, that'd be crazy. Or I don't know who else Saeed could see. Shannon, maybe.
I guess he could see Shannon.
Or, yeah, and Lucia. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'm ready for the next scene.
Yeah. This is the second theory Hurley's given us, and I don't know. I think he needs to stop that. The next scene is back on the island. Let's see, who are we with? We're with Jen, Sun, Dan, and Charlotte, the party going to the medical station at which they have just arrived. They open the door. Dan tells Charlotte he should go in first to make sure everything's safe. Jen says, do you think she knows he likes her? Sun says, in her first of a series of lectures on women and their uncanny knowledge, she is a woman. She knows.
Mm-hmm.
Charlotte glances at them and enters the station. They all enter the station. They enter the secret room that you get to through the locker room that has all the supplies in it, which you remember from DOC. Dan wonders where all the power comes from. Charlotte says, add that to the list. Sun tells Jen that this is where Juliet brought her to see their baby. Then she says that Dan and Charlotte are not going to help them. Jen tells her not to worry. He'll make sure they get off the island. Charlotte looks at him. And that's the scene. End scene. So, the biggest thing I think I get from this, to pick up a thread that we started in a previous podcast, is the thing about the power. The fact that Dan wonders where all the power comes from. I feel like that settles the idea that the Tempest was a power station.
Well, yeah. I mean, that was the whole thing. They were like, yeah, the Tempest is the power station. Cool, finally we got an answer. And it's like, okay, well, if Dan didn't think the Tempest did it, then what's doing it?
Because you remember there was that line from Kate right after that episode where Kate said that we thought it was a power station, but it turned out to be a poison gas factory. And when we watched that episode, we had a little discussion about whether she was being literal or just being kind of flippant. That maybe it was just a byproduct or something, and it really was a power station.
Yeah.
But I think, Dan and Charlotte, I feel like know that it's not, and he doesn't say it with humor. So. So I think, So I think now we can conclude that the Tempest was indeed a poison gas factory, and we still don't know where the power comes from.
Yeah.
So add that to the list, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I guess, why would Dharma build a poison gas factory? I mean, maybe it's some sort of fail safe for the island. Like if their experiments go wrong, they can just initiate the gas and just kill everybody on it and kind of leave, and that's maybe that's the reason why.
Mhm.
But it still seems really strange to me that they would just make a factory that does nothing but produce poison gas.
Yeah.
But hey, Dharma was into weird stuff.
Yeah, Dharma's crazy. I'm still harboring the theory that that they built the smoky tomb controls.
Yeah.
Which would definitely be a weird thing to do.
Yeah, it would be weird.
And put hieroglyphs on it.
Yeah. And I feel like if they built something under there, it wouldn't be dirty. Like, it got really dirty. And if it was a station or some sort of control room, it should be clean.
Yeah. I agree.
Cleaner than that.
I agree. I'm hanging on by nothing really, but I'm still clinging somehow to that. At least until we get more on
it's called
that topic.
faith.
Yes, that's what it's called. Thank you.
When you believe something with no proof, that's called faith.
Or even when proof suggests otherwise.
Exactly. That's called blind faith.
Yes.
Yeah. And the other thing, of course, is we learned that Charlotte, the whole thing, well, it's a setup to Charlotte knowing Korean.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, Charlotte knows Korean. That's right. That comes into play later. Is there anything else that happens here? Oh, yeah. Yeah. I really just Sun's line just bugged me.
What line?
She is a woman. She knows.
I like that line. I felt like it was very appropriate considering Charlotte and Dan. I feel like Dan's not very suave. And he's, I like that line. I thought it made perfect sense.
I'm not saying I don't like the line. I guess I don't know. I just feel like it's the first in a series of lectures on women's intuition or something, and I don't know. Something about it just bugs me. Just the idea. The line's good. It's just something about the idea I just don't like.
The idea of what?
The idea that women just universally know when someone likes them.
Oh, well, I don't think she's really trying to give a lecture here. I think she's just, she's just saying, it's it's that kind of thing that's probably sort of true, but not absolutely true, And I think she's just being, I don't know. There's a word for what she's being. It didn't bother me, but if she continues to lecture on women's, the psychology of the human female, then I'll protest with you.
Okay. I will hold my protest, until it continues to a certain degree, but it did irk me.
Because it had to be a line that was somewhat of, some line that kind of makes you smile, because they needed some response from Charlotte,
Yeah.
Because that's basically what happens is she hears that and she kind of smiles at her for saying that, which kind of, I think verifies that Charlotte knows,
Yeah, yeah.
And she's like, haha, yeah, I do know. All right, next scene.
Okay. Let's see. What's the next scene? This is my final scene. But we're back with Sawyer's group. Miles offers to help Claire carry the baby. Sawyer tells him to back off, reminding him about the restraining order, which he is thoroughly violating by walking next to her.
Well, 20 feet on the island is a lot different than 20 feet in the real world.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, don't forget.
The island length, I don't know, length is shorter on the island.
Length scatters differently here.
Yeah. Oh, God. So, right. So they hear someone coming. Ooh, who is it? This is another scene that's happened a lot.
I hate that. I was like, it's got to be Vincent, right?
Yeah.
It's Vincent coming through the woods.
That's who it should be. He always does that. Fucking Vincent.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this like, ooh, someone's coming, and there's these shrubs, and so we won't see until they're right on us.
Yeah, they never like hide.
No.
They just stand there and wait, and they'll have.
They're just kind of stupefied,
never,
like, oh man, someone's coming. Well, guess we gotta wait, see who it is.
Yeah.
All right, but it turns out to be a friendly face, none other than Frank, the helicopter drunk. Frank tells them to hide, that Kimi is coming. So they do. They hide behind a tree. And soon after, Kimi and his men show up. One of them is being carried by two others. Kimi asks about the chopper. The baby, Aaron, makes a noise, and this Kimi hears this and starts to look around for the source, and Frank tries to talk to Kimi to get him off of this mission and protect the hiding Sawyer, Miles, and Claire. Kimi is finally convinced, and so they all leave.
Alrighty.
Okay, so the shocking thing, last podcast, I remember at a certain point, because I hadn't thought about it. I actually originally, before we did the podcast, I had in my mind that Kimi was alive, and then when we were doing the podcast, I'm like, well, he's surely dead. I mean, Smokey is not the kind of thing that if he's attacking you, he's not just gonna rough you up a little bit, give you a noogie or two, and send you on your way.
The only person we've seen really that I can think of right now get out of come into contact with Smokey and get out of it is Locke.
Yeah.
And Echo saw Smokey that one. It wasn't attacking him, but he saw him that one time before it attacked him and killed him.
Yeah, when it dragged Locke and they threw the dynamite at it, and then it ran away. That was that was the only time I know of anyone really escaping where it was attacking. The other time it didn't attack, and that's reasonable. But it was shown to be attacking. So so it's weird to me that it apparently. I mean, I don't even get the sense it necessarily killed any of them. That it just kind of had a little fun with them and it just left, which I just think is weird.
I thought it was. I was so surprised to see Kimi, and especially I thought how many people were still alive is ridiculous. Unless they went in there with 20 guys, which I don't think they did.
I don't either.
I don't see how they got out of it. I mean, the guy who was hurt, I kind of feel like he was the guy who we saw get dragged into the smoke monster at the very end. The guy who was running out, and I think someone was going to shoot him, but the Smokey drags him back in, I don't know how these guys survived. I don't get it. I feel like it's maybe it has something to do with what Ben did. Maybe Ben told maybe Ben somehow gave Smokey some sort of order that not to kill. I don't know.
I'd be surprised if he did that. I feel like he'd want to kill at least Kimi after him killing Alex.
Yeah, I agree. I don't understand. I don't understand that. That to me is one of the biggest mysteries of Lost right now. How Smokey could, if it was just Kimi who was there, or maybe one other guy.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah, I would be like, okay, Kimi got out of it. He's he's really big. He's strong. He's the leader. Okay, fine. But it was 5 guys who survived that.
And Kimi, Kim is a character, so it's it's nice if he lives. But these other guys, they could have died and not had a big
what that means, right?
What does it mean?
Well, it means they need these guys for later.
They need these guys. Fucking
shit. If these guys don't come into play later, either someone shoots them or they some way that things would have played differently if these guys weren't still around. I will be very surprised.
Yeah, I think you're right. The other thing is the helicopter has a limit to how many people can get on it. Like that's already come into play multiple times. So they really shouldn't have many more men than we saw. You know. I mean,
that's true. Yeah.
You know, so like I think I get the sense Smokey didn't kill anyone. That he just and like what did he do? I mean, the rest of them were fine. The one guy was being carried, but the rest of them seemed relatively okay.
Yeah, I don't know what he was. I guess it seems like Smokey was just buying them some time to escape, and I don't understand why it would do that unless these are good people and it didn't want to kill them.
Which I don't believe.
Which I don't believe, and I don't think it's even relevant. At least not
Kimi. Like we've already seen him be a bad
I don't even
guy.
think that's even relevant.
Yeah, I don't either. I think you're right. I think they need them, and they'll come into play later.
I just don't see why they even. Oh man, I'm gonna be really upset. I'm holding my anger until this whole thing plays out. But I think that's pretty crappy that some of these guys aren't dead. Giving that was a very angry looking Smokey. I mean,
yeah, he came in there like a freight train.
We've never seen Smokey like that. Like just so intense. And like it knew what it was doing and it had a mission. That was pretty crazy that they didn't really get hurt and the one guy was being carried, whatever. I can't wait to see.
But that is so small for a full bore attack by Smokey.
A full blown Smokey attack? Yeah, that's really small. That's very.
We know he can do way better than that.
Yeah. I mean, all he has to do is pick up each guy and hit them against a tree and they're dead.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? It's really simple to,
It is. Yeah, so it makes it seem like he just lightly roughed them up.
Yeah.
Which, like, it's just, I can't wrap my mind around it. I agree. It's very strange. And yeah, I think, I feel like you have to be right, or they're just crazy to not
Or they
kill
just
them.
really, if they don't use these guys later, I mean, then I just think they made an error because I don't see why not kill them if you don't need them, then kill them and make it seem, make it make sense for your audience.
Exactly. Like if they just had Kimi live, like, and he, he's severely injured and he just barely got away. Like I could buy that, but it just.
I would totally buy that.
Yeah. The cost seems to have been very little. And that's, I don't know. Yeah.
I want someone to talk about that. I want someone to be like, smoke monster got us, but we did something, or we, I don't know how they got out of it, but.
Yeah, Frank asked them, and he's just like, mind your own business or something, But yeah, I agree. They should address that at some point.
It was also weird to me how this scene started with Frank running. It seems like he was running from them, because he's like running through the jungle, in a fair amount of, space before Kimi and those guys. You think if they were all coming together, going to the helicopter together, they would have stayed together.
Yeah, at what point did Frank just like frantically run
He just
off?
started like hauling ass, and then it was so weird.
He was just walking with him, and all of a sudden he's like, ah! Tears off.
Yeah, because I thought he was trying to run away from them, maybe to beat them to the helicopter, and then they come up and he's like, okay, let's go, and it's like, what?
It seems like he was only running so he could warn.
Exactly.
But he didn't seem to. I mean, it's hard to believe that he knew that they were there.
He couldn't have known they were there, and he was surprised to see them.
He was surprised to see them. That's a good point. I don't know what he's doing.
I think that's bad writing.
That is bad writing. Because when Kimi shows up, he's not like, what's wrong with you?
Yeah, that's the first thing out of Kimi's mouth I thought was going to be, Lapidus, there you are. We've been looking for you.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like they had just caught up to him or something or whatever. I really thought that was going to happen, and they didn't say boo about that. So
no, they didn't say boo. Oh, that's a great expression. Use that more often. He didn't say boo. Good.
Thanks.
I mean, not that you made it up, but good usage.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it was very contrived with Frank running through the jungle first, and I don't know how else they really could have worked around that, but you know, I think they should have. I guess I do know how. I really think they should have just made it where Frank was trying to make it to the helicopter and they were trying to make it to the helicopter, and and they caught up with them.
Mm-hmm.
Because they didn't seem to be together. I mean, obviously these guys just came from the barracks.
Yeah.
From the whole Smokey thing, so it makes sense that they would get disconnected from each other. So I don't know. I didn't really like that at all. And Keamy, I feel like if Keamy thought something was in that bush, he would have just opened fire.
Yeah.
At this point, I feel like he would just open fire.
I agree. Yeah.
Why not?
If it wasn't series regulars in those bushes, he would have killed them all.
He would have totally killed them all. And even if it was series regulars, I guess Danielle and Carl aren't regulars.
Yeah.
But I was gonna say he killed them, but
he might have killed Claire.
Yeah, he might. But that's the thing. It's very strange. But Frank did a good job with trying to get them to just start moving.
Yeah.
So I think that's the only thing that that's really what saved them. But
yeah.
Although from Sawyer's point of view, it looked like he could have shot Keamy in the head from
it did.
from where he was.
It did. Although if he had done that, they probably would have died because there was other guys there.
Yeah, but those other guys are like holding that other guy. Yeah, Sawyer could have taken them out.
All of them, you think?
Well, I think a military guy could have taken them out. Maybe not Sawyer, but
yeah, military guy. He had the advantage, definitely. It always looks to me in those scenes like Keamy should be able to see them.
Yeah, because it's like they can see him, but he can't see them.
Yeah.
It's like, how does that work?
Yeah, exactly. Like you're looking at his face. Like it's like, okay, if you can see his face, like what barrier exactly is between his eyes and you?
Yeah, I think the only way that can happen is if, and it's probably what they would say, is that when they were in that bush, they were sort of in darkness. Because if someone's hiding in the closet and the closet door's open, they can see you, but you can't see them, kind of thing.
Okay.
So I think that's what we're supposed to buy, is that he couldn't really tell they were in there.
That's what happened in that Not in Portland episode too, where they hid in Alex's little hidey hole.
I hope that's the official name, is the hidey hole. They're like, Alex, what did you do? I just built a hidey hole. That should be a hidey hole.
Yeah, that's.
Let's go hidey.
That's when I think of Alex. That's the kind of words I want to use.
Oh, Alex, he's dead.
Yeah, I know. That's weird.
I don't want to believe it.
But that is the same situation where people came by and they were hiding and they could see out, but they were under the thing, so they did have darkness in their favor, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
The problem with that is if someone steps on it,
Yeah.
Which
Keamy goes to go use the bathroom and he pees on them in the bush. Pees on the baby. Oh, that's bad.
Oh man, that would be great. They would never show.
I mean, it's
a baby get peed on network TV.
I think one day they might.
Would.
One day they just might.
I hope so. Oh man,
the pee-pee baby.
The pee-pee baby. Oh God. Oh, if only. Oh man.
All right, so I guess I'm
handing it over to you, sir, to complete our journey.
Oh, wow, now I have to do some work.
Yeah, sorry.
All right, well, next scene, I think, let's see if my notes are right. Juliet, we're back at the beach, and Juliet comes to ask Kate to help him Jack's surgery. Tells her she just needs to hold a mirror so that Jack can watch and kind of help out. Jack comes out from his little tent, and because he wants to walk himself to the operating tent, and Juliet tells them that the others will be back soon with the supplies, and then Kate walks with Jack, kind of helps him over to the table, and I think that's it.
Wow.
Yeah. Anything about this?
I don't know what to say about that.
All right. I did like, Jack says, listen, if something happens to me, and she just tells him to shut up, and he says, fair enough.
Mm-hmm.
I like that. It's almost cliche now. It's a cliche that's they're approaching it in a not cliche way.
It's a cliche to acknowledge the cliche.
Yeah, at this point it's cliche to do what they did, but at least it's better than the original cliche. But it was better than if something happens to me, I want you to know that I always loved you.
Yeah.
Like, all right.
Yeah. Yeah, it is a shut up. Like, we've seen the flash forwards. You're the main character. You're not going to die 3/4 of the way through season 4. So, indeed, shut up.
Yeah. All right, next scene, flash forward. Jack is sitting sitting in his car outside of the hospital where Hurley is. Then he drives off. He comes back to Kate's place. I guess his place too. I don't know if he moved in, but it seemed like he did. I guess. And he's always there. And he's
at least if he isn't officially moved in, he's effectively moved in.
Yeah. Exactly. He's got a razor there now.
Yeah. Good point.
He can shave there now. It's effectively his home.
Mm-hmm.
So he wakes her up and he asks her if she really thinks that he makes a good dad, and she says, he's good at it.
Sorry.
Yeah. Then Jack proposes. He takes out a ring. She says yes. He puts it on her finger, and then they both are happy and crying because now they can file their taxes jointly.
Oh.
Which save some money, folks.
No, really, yeah.
And that's that scene.
Being married is good for your finances.
It is.
Did you finish the scene?
That's it.
Okay, I just realized that we didn't talk about something that I had intended to talk about.
Oh, yeah?
Earlier, in the Hurley scene. You're not supposed to raise him, Jack. That line. We didn't.
Oh, yeah, we were. I meant to talk about that, too.
That's
we totally, we missed that.
We got
the big line.
We got stuck on the they're dead thing.
Well, we got stuck on, the fact that, why did he even write that down, that whole thing?
And that, too, yeah.
We were talking about the line, but we were just talking about, we didn't talk about the
we just talked about why it was delivered that way, but we didn't talk about it and what it means.
Yeah.
It has nothing to do with the scene you just talked about, but we got to talk about it. So this, to me, appears to be raising the issue of who should be raising Aaron, for the first time since, season 1.
There's so many people who shouldn't raise this baby. It's like the baby no one wanted. Because, Claire's not supposed to raise it. Jack's not supposed to raise it. It definitely calls into question a lot of things. And the fact that we know Claire, at this point doesn't end up raising Aaron.
Claire was supposed to raise it. It was the
that's right. Claire was supposed to raise it.
The original message, at least, was you can't let anyone else raise it.
Mm-hmm.
And then there was the turn, which I still don't know what to make of, where he's like, well, never mind that. Here's the people who should raise your baby.
Exactly, yeah. But then Claire ends up not raising Aaron for the long term.
Yeah.
Which is strange. So.
Yeah, it's weird because that episode concludes with Claire realizing that Well, the psychic knew that the plane was going to crash, and he knew that I'd have to raise the baby. And so all along, it was really a scheme to get me to raise the baby, which now that we know what happens is appears to not be true at all. So I don't really know what to make of that, but why can't Jack raise Aaron?
I think for me, that line basically means that Jack needs to go back to the island. That's what that means to me, because Charlie knows that. Charlie should know who needs to go back, and I think that's what that means. Is he's not supposed to be, back home in L.A. with Aaron and Kate. I think for whatever reason, he's supposed to go back to the island.
So it's not really about Aaron. It's really about Jack.
I don't think it's about Aaron. Yeah, I think Jack has daddy issues. Who doesn't? Mm-hmm. But
on this show,
he specifically does. And I think the idea of him being a good father, obviously he's worried about that, and he someone in his position would question if he could be a good father, considering that he didn't really like how his father raised him, or those issues. So I think Jack staying, part of the reason Jack wants to, I think, have this life is for Aaron, at this point. So I think that's kind of why it comes off as you're not supposed to raise him, because Jack thinks that that's what he's, not that that's what he's supposed to do, but that's what Jack wants to do.
Yeah.
I think is be there with Kate, and now he thinks he's a good dad and he wants to do that, so he wants to raise him. But yeah, so now the line is, he's not supposed to be there to raise him. So I just think that just means he's supposed to go back to the island.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you don't think they're bringing Aaron is gonna come into play?
Yeah, no. I mean, I don't think it's there would be really drastic effects if Jack raised Aaron. I don't think that's going on at all. I just think it's more about what Jack is supposed to do.
Okay. And so you think this doesn't apply to Kate?
That Kate doesn't need to go back to the island, or that Kate shouldn't raise Aaron?
Either both questions.
I don't know whether or not Kate is supposed to raise Aaron. I would assume she is, since she is raising him, and who else is going to at this point? Mm-hmm. So I think she is, quote unquote, supposed to raise him. But in terms of Kate going back to the island, I would have to say at this point, I don't think she is going to go back. Because I don't see Aaron going back. I don't see her taking Aaron back to the island and raising him there and all that. And I mean, besides, Kate has the restraint. She's on probation.
Right.
She can't leave.
Mm-hmm.
Even though the police couldn't find her. I mean, obviously that's not a real reason, but anyway, I don't really think at this point that Kate is involved. She could be.
Well, what does that mean for the they're all dead theory?
Oh, well, with the they're all dead theory, in the they're all dead theory, which I don't believe, then I would say, yeah, Kate's supposed to go back too. If she's really dead and all the ghosts are supposed to go back, then, but does that mean that Aaron's dead and now we have this ghost child who's growing? He shouldn't have even been born if they died in the plane crash. Mm-hmm. And so
it's a ghost baby.
It's a ghost woman had a ghost baby.
Mm-hmm.
Ghost, please.
Yeah.
So I don't really buy that they're all dead. That's really lame.
I don't either, but since that's the main theory of this episode, I felt the need to at least see where that would fit in with the Kate thing. Yeah, but it does seem like of the flash forwards we've seen so far, I mean, Sun seems to be doing as okay as she can with Jin being dead. Yeah, exactly. And I don't see Jin appearing to her and saying you need to go back to the island. I mean, he potentially risked his life or gave his life to get her off of it. They did have that one scene. It's
in what episode?
In what was it called? G-On?
Baby on Board?
Yeah. Where when she's delivering and she she calls out to Jin, and she's telling him to get Jin, and she thinks she sees Jin in the hallway. Like I guess I want to tie that in some ways because I feel like it plays out similarly. I mean, I said at the time it plays out similarly to the season 3 finale where Jack tells the guy to go get his dad upstairs or whatever. You know, it's someone, you know, talking about someone who's dead as if they're alive. And since now we've learned that Jack did see his dad, you know, before that. You know, it makes me wonder if maybe she did see Jin, and maybe that just wasn't a part of that flash forward.
Yeah, the problem, I want to separate, you know, that instance of her calling out for Jin, because I think they're trying to fool us into thinking, you know, it's the same time frame. And even the thing with Jack's dad, I mean, just because he saw him, I mean, I forget exactly what he said, but, you know, the reference was that, you know, the guy was going to go up there and talk to his dad about this thing. And I feel like even if Jack saw his dad, there's a difference between seeing the ghost of your dead father and thinking your father's alive.
Is there?
I think there is.
I hope so.
You know, because seeing the ghost of your dead father doesn't mean that this guy can go talk to him about your problems.
He tells him to go upstairs and see if he's drunker than Jack is. And if he is, then he can fire Jack.
Yeah, and see, that's the thing. I don't see why his dad would be drunk if he's a ghost. So I just, you know, like, you know, doesn't make any sense. I don't feel like that even really connects, really. I think Jack was just out of it when he said that. I don't really think that has to do with the fact that he saw his dad because, I mean, obviously it would to a certain degree, but I don't think that means that, because Jack saw his dad, then that's why Jack thinks his dad is upstairs, because he wouldn't be upstairs drunk. You know, and this wouldn't be someone that this guy can go see. When even at this point, Jack can't even talk to his dad, you know, so. I don't think that Jin, that son saw Jin, you know, and it's almost kind of similar to, you know, Claire potentially seeing Charlie in this episode, or I should say last episode when her house got blown up. You know, she calls out for him when she's in pain the same way son calls out for Jin when she's in pain. But I really think that was more about the misdirection, you know, and the person that she was calling out to Jin, the guy walking in the hallway, you know, she, like, if they didn't show us that, I would think maybe, but they made it clear that she was wrong about that, you know, and that Jin was dead. And then later when she goes to the funeral, you know, she makes no reference to, you know, thanks for visiting me, or I think I saw you, or, you know, there was no references there about that. So I don't think she saw Jin.
Yeah.
You know, not at this point.
I kind of don't either, but I don't know.
Unless he appeared so he could witness the birth of the baby, but besides that, like, you know.
Yeah.
You know, I don't think at this point she saw Jin. Maybe he'll come to her if she's involved and she needs to go back to the island too and all that jazz. You know, maybe he'll come talk to her if he's, you know, really dead, which I think he is. But
I do too.
But I think they're separate. That's the problem with Lost. Like, you can list all of these things that are fairly similar, but just don't really, you know, you can't really put them in the same box.
Yeah, it is a problem. Yeah, because you want it to be, kind of meticulously planned out. Where if things seem analogous, then they're related. But yeah, that's yeah.
But there's always little elements that just get in the way,
ruin things. Yeah. Well, I kind of don't think so either. I was going to say that I think as far as the flash forward, it's like Sun and Kate seem to be doing more or less okay. I think everybody
The ones with babies.
Coincidence? What are they trying to tell us?
Children are our future. I just made that up.
It's a good one. I like that. You should sell that to somebody.
I will. You want to buy it?
No.
Oh, okay.
I don't buy phrases.
Well, all right. Well, that's why you don't have anything to say.
I guess not. Ooh.
Ooh.
I just agreed with your
I know.
diss.
With my burn.
With your burn. What was I going to say? Oh, they're happy. Everybody else seems to not be happy. You know, everybody else seems to be miserable.
The men.
Ooh,
what are they saying?
Good point. Now hold on. Who are the Oceanic Six? Let me make sure I'm not forgetting anyone here. We got Sun, Kate, Jack, Saeed, Hurley, Aaron. I guess. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, Aaron. You know, he's too little to be happy or sad. But
what was the final word on that? Was it that Aaron was the sixth person? Because I thought at some point we found out that the sixth person didn't matter.
No, what we found out was that Aaron's a sixth person, and what didn't matter was who the two people were in Jack's story that he tells at the trial.
That's right, because he said
that there were 8 of them that survived.
Oh, okay, those two people didn't.
Yeah,
matter.
Those are the people who didn't matter. So, but yeah, Aaron is one of the 6. It's like we're supposed to know that. They had in mind that it would be clear to the audience, but
oh, is that what they thought?
Yeah. Yeah.
But didn't they say that he could? Didn't they say he couldn't be one of the 6 because he wasn't on the manifest and he wasn't really on board? Didn't Carlton and Damon say that? Yeah, kind of. In the podcast, the conversation went something like, it was one of those things where they choose their words in such a way where you can construe them various ways, and the conversation went something like, Damon, Aaron couldn't possibly be one of the Oceanic Six, right? Since he wasn't technically, a passenger on the plane. He shouldn't be a part of that, And Damon was like, well, maybe he is, maybe they included him, since he was like sort of on the plane in some form, So it was sort of equivocal. Like they didn't really come down either way. At the time when I heard it, I thought it suggested that he wasn't one of the Oceanic Six, but later they all but confirmed that it was. Yeah. Basically, what happened was they said that they didn't say who they were, but they said there's a promo out there that says who they are, and that promo shows Aaron. Yeah, that's the thing. So it hasn't been on the show that he's the 6th. We just know that from the promo and from their confirmation. I feel like they want us to know from the show. They want us to know, like, I think in their minds, when we saw Aaron in Eggtown, like, we're supposed to instantly think he's one of the Oceanic Six. I think that's so weird that they think that that they would want to think that when they spend so much time on smaller things, making sure the audience gets it, on like little things. The bottle on the raft, that we, it's like, okay. But like this thing of Aaron, like no one ever says he's one of the 6, and it's in a situation where we don't even know how Kate even has him. We don't even, that's weird to me that they would just think that we get that. Yeah. But they do that a lot though when they're like, we thought the audience would know this. Yeah. And like we don't. There was something during the pause when your phone dropped on the last podcast. That I mentioned, sort of along these lines. They in the last podcast they read a question about Harper, the woman and the other woman, who appears to Juliet at the beginning of the episode after the whispers, and someone asked them, was that really her, or was that Smokey or some kind of manifestation, And and Carlton got like exasperated with the question. Like he was totally frustrated with the idea that the audience was questioning whether she was real or not. I wonder why. And it just sort of blew me away. I was like, guys, if you don't want people to question that, then why do you have so many manifestations? Hey, why make the whispers come into play? Why make it seem mysterious? Why make her vanish and stuff? Why shoot it in a way that makes us question it if you don't want us to question it? Yeah, I know. I couldn't believe it. And he seemed sort of upset with the audience for
for having a question like that. You know, and it really just blew me away.
Did he watch the episode?
I hope
maybe he didn't see what we saw, because yeah, they made that seem very mysterious. And not only that, they do have a lot of apparitions. We've seen, you know, I mean, almost half, a good, like, at least fourth of, like, you know, some of the auxiliary characters are, like, apparitions, you know what I mean, at this point. And it's like, you know, people keep, you know, Walt shows up. Are we supposed to, you know, it's like, what are we supposed to believe about that? You know, well, we know Walt is back in, you know, back in America or New York. So, like, you know, it's just, that's really strange to me.
Yeah, exactly. Like, you know, we're supposed to believe that's really Walt? Like, I don't think so, right?
Yeah, and it's like, okay, here's an instance when a character we've seen before has come, and it's almost obvious that it's not the real person. Yet they're going to show us another character and be like, obviously, guys. So what was the answer? That she was really there,
She's real.
right?
It was really her. Yeah.
Okay. That's what I figured.
Yeah, and yeah, I just couldn't believe the exasperation. It just blew me away, because it's that, you know, that general thing of what they think the audience should be able to get or assume, you know, based on what they show.
Yeah.
And
it's really strange.
Yeah, they have weird ideas, because you're right. Sometimes they spell things out too much.
Yeah.
And then other times, you know, they leave things very vague and expect the audience to just understand. So, yeah, I don't know what their deal is.
All right. Well, you ready for the next scene?
So, what scene were we just doing? Because we...
well, we were talking... The scene where Jack proposes, I think, is the last scene we talked about.
Okay. That was...
We went on a little tangent about the Oceanic Six.
And the line about Aaron.
Yeah, the line about Aaron. We went back to that.
Okay, yeah, the proposal. Did I have anything to say about that scene? I don't think so. Let me think. Yeah, Jack was shown, like, outside. You know, I guess he thought about it, and I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know if we're supposed to connect to, you know, what, you know, I don't know what we're supposed to think about why he decided to propose. You know, he was sitting outside of Hurley's place. And I couldn't, you know, you can't really tell if he just left or he had really been sitting out there for a while. But you know, he's leaving Hurley's, you know, Hurley having just told him, you know, we're all dead, and you know, this is just a dream, you know, heaven thing. And so maybe, I don't know, maybe that made Jack want to go do it. I don't know if that's supposed to, you know, influence him or not. You know, he makes a comment about, you know, going to go get something and it taking a while, and, you know, before he proposed, I thought he was just saying that. I thought he was talking about Hurley, and I thought he didn't want to tell her about what was going on. But then he pulls out a ring, so I figured maybe he just went and bought the ring. You know, I don't know what jewelry store is open. You know, it seemed pretty late, but whatever.
Yeah.
Walmart, I think, is 24 hours, so you know, you can get some good wedding rings at Walmart, I think.
Really? I didn't know they sold wedding rings.
They sell everything.
Yeah, I guess they do. Good point. Next time in a Walmart, I'm gonna have to look at their ring collection.
You really? I mean, they've got some fine jewelry at Walmart. No, I'm kidding. I don't know. No, they've got stuff. They've obviously got a jewelry department. So. All right, you ready for the next scene?
Yes.
All right. Miles, Charlotte, Jen, and Son come back to the beach with the supplies. Juliet takes them, and she and Son...
Not Miles.
Did I say Miles?
Yeah.
I meant Dan.
I got lost. Because I was thinking Sawyer's group, and then all of a sudden Jen and Son were there. And...
I know, right?
Okay.
Dan, Charlotte, Jen, and Son come back. Juliet takes the supplies, and she and Son go to sterilize them. Jen takes Charlotte aside and tells her that he knows that she can understand Korean, that she smiled when Son and Jen were talking about her, and that she was listening to their conversation in the medical station. Charlotte pretends she doesn't know what he's talking about, and then Jen threatens to hurt Dan, which I guess is a tactic he learned from Saeed. So the jig is up, and Charlotte, you know, asks him in Korean what he wants, and he tells her that Sun must get on the helicopter above all else, and he leaves, and Charlotte kind of smiles in a weird way.
Yeah, Charlotte's weird.
Yeah, so what was I going to say? I thought it was strange how Jin just instantly threatened to hurt Dan.
Yeah.
That was a little out of character for him to me.
It did seem un-Jin-like.
Yeah, just all the, like, that's the first thing he says is, I'm going to break his fingers one by one. Really, Jin? Like, you're really going to do that? And, like, and your friends are going to let you do that to him? You know, just sit around and break a finger by finger? You know, he's got, like, nothing to do with this. Why not threaten to hurt her? You know, I guess because she's a woman, I don't know, or I guess if you hurt her, she won't help you.
Yeah, maybe that's the idea. Maybe he thinks it's the thing you do, like, you know, you maybe hurt someone they care about, and that'll get to them more than hurting them, something like that.
Mm-hmm. It seemed like what really should have happened, or not should have happened, but I could have seen this happen where the situation was kind of reversed, where Dan is the one who knew Korean. And so he came to Dan, because Dan is the one who likes Charlotte. He's the one who sort of, we find out, is invested in her. So it makes sense for Jin to be like, oh, I know you like her, so I'm going to hurt her if you don't help me.
Yeah.
You know, because this way it doesn't, I mean, she doesn't necessarily care about Dan. Obviously they're colleagues and they're somewhat friendly, but we don't really know what relationship they have, you know, and, you know, so anyway. But this was kind of interesting. And she, you know, the idea that Jen doesn't really care if anyone else gets off is interesting too.
Yeah.
You know.
I agree. I do kind of hope for better out of Jen.
Mhm.
You know, at this point, you know, I feel like he, you know, in the early days, you know, when they first crashed, that's exactly the kind of thing I'd expect from him, you know. In the early days for him, it was all about him and Sun. He didn't give a shit about anybody else. But, yeah, at this point, it is kind of shocking. I was really surprised he just went straight to I'm going to break his fingers, and all I care about is Sun getting off. Everybody else, fuck him, you know. It is weird.
Yeah, I mean, because all he had to say was, I care about my friends, but nevertheless, I have to protect my wife and my baby. And he can still get his point across and be sympathetic and be understanding. And it's just like, if you don't have him say that, then he's just you know, evil.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Which I really don't think he should be coming off that way.
Yeah. But I mean, obviously, it's getting, you know, things are ramping up, and I think, you know, he's going to do something drastic, I think.
Yeah, and he does have to probably die at some point.
Yeah.
So this might be setting the stage for that. Which I didn't really think about, but
yeah, I think that's kind of what that is. I think it's definitely setting the stage for however Sun gets on the helicopter.
Yeah, which like I had sort of concluded that the freighter were not responsible for the rescue, but I don't know. Maybe that's
at this
not
point.
true.
There's only a couple more episodes left, and
yeah,
I mean,
you're right.
Unless they fly that helicopter to Tahiti or something, I don't know where else they're going to fly it.
Yeah. Oh, the helicopter. That's right. Claire's supposed to get on a helicopter, too. I wonder if that's going to happen.
She gets on and then falls off.
Whoopsie.
I also wanted to mention something about last week's episode, about Ray. Was it last week when Ray washed up on shore?
Who's Ray? Oh, yeah.
The doctor?
Yeah.
I was talking to Jerica.
They didn't even mention him this episode.
No, they didn't.
Weird. I forgot about him.
A friend of mine brought up, Jerica, who you know, Justin, brought up the idea that maybe Ray didn't come from the freighter. Maybe he came from the helicopter. And I didn't go back to see if that could be true, but I was thinking, well, maybe, you know, because it would have been quicker for him to wash up on shore at that point if he wasn't coming from the freighter. You know, so I don't know if, like, they're flying and he's doing something and Kimi slashes his throat and throws him off kind of thing. But I think the helicopter was already gone when Ray was still on the freighter.
Did they? I don't remember what they showed of Kimi and his men leaving. I can't
think
remember
they were
when
gone.
that happened.
They were already gone. I remember that. I think it was Saeed and Ray. And Saeed said, where'd the helicopter go? And Ray said, they'll run an errand or something, and he goes, what, to the island? He goes, where else would you land, or something like that. So I think Ray, I don't really think Ray could have been on the helicopter, but I thought that was a good idea that, that he could have come from someplace besides the freighter.
Yeah, that's good. It does.
And someplace closer,
Mhm. Yeah, for the reasonableness of his body showing up.
Mhm. Yeah. And he wouldn't have to necessarily float through the barrier.
Right. The barrier. Ugh.
Mhm. Let's not get on that one.
I agree. That's I don't think it's true, but it would be nice if it was.
Yeah. Next scene.
Certainly fixing things up. What was the scene we just left? Oh yeah, the threatening Jen. Yeah, go ahead.
The next scene, we're in the surgical tent. Everybody's getting ready. Bernard tells Jack that they found some chloroform at the medical station and asks if Jack would rather, be dreaming of something nice back home.
Oh.
The titular line. Thank you, Bernard. That's the most you'll ever get.
From you or from the show?
Huh? I said that's the most he'll ever get from the show is being, he had a fairly big part to play in this episode, and he got to say the titular line.
Oh, okay.
If we never see Bernard again, we'll know why.
I see. When you said thank you, Bernard, I thought you meant and that's all I'll ever say to you.
Oh no. Jack says the lidocaine will be fine. Kate gets the mirror in place. Bernard injects the lidocaine, and Juliet makes the first incision, all at the same time.
Very nice.
It hurts quite a bit, and Jack is having trouble staying still, and it gets pretty crazy. And Juliet tells Bernard to knock him out. Chaos kind of ensues as Jack protests, and Juliet starts to yell at Kate to leave. Bernard agrees with Juliet and knocks Jack out.
All right.
I think that's it.
The whole idea of Jack directing the surgery ended so abruptly. I don't know. I thought it was going to go farther than that.
Yeah, I kind of liked. I mean, it was weird. I liked how it went, and I liked the fact that he tried to plan it out and it just didn't work, and it was just too much pain for him to take, and he didn't really get his way. But it just seems weird that, all of that effort to set that up, and it just didn't really work out that way.
Yeah.
It's good in a sense that it's realistic, Yeah,
I buy that, yeah.
Yeah, but it's weird in the sense that, they wrote this.
Yeah, exactly. They knew that it was just going to instantly fail.
Mhm.
And so then I wonder why they did it. But maybe it's just about Kate being there and getting Kate involved so that Juliet can talk to her and all that stuff.
Yeah, because I think Kate needed to be in there to kind of help in some way, but she didn't really have any skills. I mean, if you look at it, I think if you think about, what you want, what the writers want from the scene, that's probably how they made this whole thing come about. It's like, well, we want to have Kate in there, but she doesn't have any, she has no use in there. Well, how about if she's holding the mirror because Jack wants to see it, and blah blah blah, and so I think it just came about like that.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Next scene.
Yeah, I think so.
Let me find where it is, and I will. Okay, so next scene is the Flash. We're back in the future, and Jack is going over a patient's X-rays, and he's recording notes. I think this might be the patient that his coworker Erica asked him about.
Yeah, doesning he mention the L4?
He mentions the L4,
vertebrae, which is reference to that's where Ben's thing was.
Yeah, it always is. Ben's thing is always there.
So true.
He starts to hear a beeping, and then he goes to investigate, and he sees that it's in the lobby. He sees that it's the beeping's coming from a smoke detector. I don't know if that's supposed to be a reference to Smokey. And then Jack gets up on the desk and takes the battery out, and then he hears his father call his name, and he turns around and kind of looks at him. And we see Christian sitting in a chair, and Jack comes closer, and then Erica enters, startling Jack. He tries to explain about the smoke detector, and if he didn't have that battery in his hand, I think he was lying.
Man, does he seem like he's lying.
Yeah. He's like, I mean, he's really out of it, and I think he Matthew Fox performs that well. But without that battery, if I was Eric, I'd be like, yeah, you're lying.
It makes it seem like he's really emotional about the smoke detector, like.
Yeah. So
it's a weird scene.
He asked her to write a prescription for clonazepam, and he says that he's been going through a lot, that he has a lot going on, and he's just got engaged, and that he's having trouble sleeping. And she suggests, engagement is supposed to solve problems, not cause them, and that he needs to talk to someone.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the scene. The thing with the smoke detector was weird, and I thought her line about, thanks for, what did he say? What did she say? Thanks for
keeping us safe or something like that?
I didn't know what that meant, because from her perspective, because she doesn't, I mean, if you taking a battery out of a smoke detector, doesn't keep people safe. And it's like, it just seems weird that she would say that from what she thinks is going on, But it seems like she knew what was going on, even though she shouldn't. I don't know, it was weird.
Mhm.
Because he's not really keeping them safe by taking the battery out, because if a smoke happens, if he doesn't replace the battery, obviously.
Yeah.
Which didn't seem like he was really going to go do.
Which he ought to do, for safety's sake.
Yeah, I don't think he, I think that's the maintenance job, Hopefully he will let someone know it needs to be replaced.
At the very least. Unless
he's got like a battery lying around.
Mhm.
Anyway,
smoke detectors are irritating.
Yeah, they are.
They make the worst sounds.
Yeah.
Second worst, crying baby.
All you gotta do is take the battery out of the baby and they'll stop crying.
What did I wish though?
All right, next scene?
No.
Well, fine then.
I want to say a few things about this scene first before we move on.
What do you have to say? Oh, the whole thing with Christian?
Yeah. So do you think? I know you already kind of weighed in on this, but do you think the smoke detector is a reference to Smokey?
I think it's an excuse for him to go into the lobby. I don't necessarily think it has anything to do with Smokey. I don't think it's more than just like, the writer had, smiled to themselves when they wrote that. I don't think there's any real meaning there.
Okay, I agree. Jack. So as a corollary to that, you probably don't think Jack's dad is Smokey.
No, I don't think Jack's dad is Smokey.
That theory.
I don't even think Smokey is Smokey anymore.
Oh.
After what happened with Keamy and those guys, I don't even know what to think of Smokey.
Well, I don't feel like myself these days.
I don't feel like killing these random people. Yeah.
I'm a sad Smokey.
I'm a sad smoke monster. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey,
I feel like if he could
theory.
talk, he would be a Sesame Street character.
Here's a theory. Maybe Smokey didn't kill Keamy and those guys because they're already dead.
Ooh.
I feel like it has to be said.
That's a theory. I'll give you that. Yeah.
Maybe everyone on the freighter's already dead.
Ooh.
They're all dead.
All dead on the freighter.
And that blood stain, when on the wall in the freighter when Ray shows Desmond and Saeed their quarters, maybe that was his gunshot wound.
Ooh.
He already killed himself. And then he killed himself a second time.
Whoa.
All right, I'm done.
I was buying your theory, and then he killed himself a second time.
Yeah, because I was buying it too until I realized he shows up dead later.
Yeah, I didn't realize that either. But that's it.
Nah.
If you're a ghost, can you kill yourself? It's weird. Maybe that's why Michael couldn't kill himself.
Maybe that's why Michael can't kill himself. That's a very obvious reason why.
He's a ghost.
Maybe that's why Walt is scared of him.
Mm-hmm.
But shouldn't Walt be a ghost too?
Yeah, Walt's a ghost too. It's weird.
So the grandma's living with the ghost?
Mm-hmm.
So maybe like Miles went the grandma's house that house he went to, everyone was like, yeah, that's Michael's house or something, or that's Michael's, like, Michael was related to that kid or something. People want to put Michael in that situation. When he does the Ghostbuster routine at the lady's house. Hello?
I'm sorry, I'm thinking.
Oh.
Hold on. Oh, you are talking about Miles. I thought you were talking about Michael and you accidentally said Miles, but you're talking about the scene where Miles goes to the old lady's house.
Yeah, Miles goes to the old lady's house, and a lot of people were thinking, that lady or something has to do with Michael. And
yeah, pictures on the wall aside, maybe that's Walt's room.
Something like that. I don't know.
It really doesn't. I don't think that was the same woman. And
yeah, well, they got a different actress because of
okay.
I don't know. I don't buy that, but
yeah, I don't buy that either, but it's.
And why would Walt have money hidden in a thing and like?
Yeah, that doesn't make sense.
Yeah, I don't buy that.
And he had drugs too, right?
And I don't even think he was in New York.
No, I don't think he was in New York. I think you're right. I think they said where he was, and I'm pretty sure. I think it was L.A.
Yeah, it's probably L.A.
If I remember right. So yeah, I think that theory can be put to rest, but it does seem like it can almost work.
Almost.
They're all dead. God, I hope they're not all dead. We can someone take that clip and save it if it turns out they're all dead.
Yeah, if they're all dead, I'm gonna die.
Because after all this, I think we deserve better than they're all dead.
Yeah.
I really do. Okay, so let's see. Jack. Do you think this might be the origin or the beginnings of Jack's addiction to prescription medication of various kinds?
He's already started on the road to. He took. I guess it's the next scene, maybe. But when he takes the prescription and he drinks it with a beer, and then later he's got all the beer. Yeah, I mean he's drinking a lot already, and so once alcohol becomes not enough for you, if you can, you switch to the drugs, prescription stuff. So
yeah. And he's in the early stages where he's able to kind of just get somebody else's prescription, but I guess later he ends up just taking one of his dad's old pads and forging them himself because he can't keep asking Erica,
Well, yeah, and for what he was asking for, she probably wouldn't give him. I think clonazepam is probably just like you said for sleeping, and so that's that's fairly innocuous, but. If it was like hardcore painkillers or something, she probably wouldn't be inclined to give him that.
The Oxycontin, that would be a harder one to explain away.
Yeah.
So, it seems like this, and somehow it was spurred on by it seems like it was spurred on by Hurley and like seeing his dad. That's stressing him out.
Well, yeah, because he thought he could get back to our normal life, and that's just not going to happen. And it's just going to get worse and worse and worse. So.
Yeah.
I just, like you said about, Christian and these ghosts should be able to appear to whomever they want. I think if that's true, they should be able to appear wherever they want. And
I was going to say that.
And this episode, we see his dad in the lobby twice, and it's like, why the lobby? You know, why here?
When you said that the smoke alarm is a reason to get Jack out there, I was thinking, you know, I feel like Ghost Christian should be able to appear in Jack's office.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, you know, there's some weird rules about that, but I just, you know, in my mind, he if he can appear in the lobby, I feel like he should be able to appear in the office.
Maybe he has to be invited in.
He's like a vampire?
No, I'm kidding. Yeah, I don't get it either. I don't, you know, I mean, obviously Erica shows up, but she could have just as easily, you know, peeked her head in his office as she left.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so I don't really know. I mean, I do think that they wanted to have the smoke alarm thing in there just as a little treat probably for anyone who thinks about that.
Yeah, they like those little wink treats.
Yeah, I just think they're winking, you know.
Mhm.
I agree. But yeah, I don't know why he has to be in the lobby. I don't know.
Because I do see these apparitions as being something other than Smokey.
Yeah, and Charlie apparently only appears to Hurley in the courtyard.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, that's true. So maybe they have some kind of restrictions about where they can appear. And Christian just has the bad luck of only being able to appear in, like, one of the more, like, active areas of the building.
Yeah.
And, like, when other people come up, he just has to vanish.
Yeah,
which is weird because someone points out to Hurley that Charlie's there.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I mean, Christian is out in the open, and you can't really tell if anyone else sees him. I mean, you know, at least in the first time we see him.
He's in a crowd.
But it's like, you know, if Jack would have caught up to him, I mean, why can't he talk to him in the middle of? I mean, if Christian is going to show up and be visible, why can't Jack talk to him in the open?
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, I mean, it wouldn't be, no one would think anything of it, not knowing who he is.
And Hurley's talking to Charlie, and I guess the idea is maybe if no one sees Charlie but Hurley, then they just chalk it up to Hurley being crazy. But nevertheless, I mean, like you said, someone pointed him out, and I don't know, it's really strange. What was refresh my memory? Back in season 1, when Jack saw his dad and caught up to him and he talked to him, didn't someone else see him too? Or am I making that up?
I can't remember if anyone else saw. It's been too long. I want to say that no one else could see him, but but someone else might have seen him once. I can't remember, but. Yeah, I can't remember. It's been too long.
Yeah, I was trying to. I don't even remember what he told Jack because
he didn't really say anything to Jack. It turned into, you know, he just appeared and then Jack was chasing him, and then once he catches up, you know, he sees that it's Christian, and then he just kind of walks away and seemingly leads Jack to his coffin. You know, where Jack like opens it up and finds it empty, and you know, gets upset, and you know, but Christian never really tells Jack anything.
I thought he said something. He didn't say anything to him?
I don't think so.
I thought Jack was saying something, and I thought, I don't know. What episode was that?
That should be White Rabbit.
Okay, I'll have to go back and look at that, but
Yeah, I mean, I might be forgetting, but my memory says that he didn't say anything. That he just stood there with his back turned, and you know, eventually Jack was able to see him, but he just walked away. He didn't say anything. I mean, I think Jack said, you know, Dad or whatever, the thing everybody says on the show, but he didn't respond. That's what I'm remembering. So, but it's been a while. I could easily be wrong.
Yeah. I don't remember. I'm trying to see if I can look it up here, but White Rabbit. I don't know if there's a transcript. Oh, there it is.
There ought to be.
Yeah. I thought it might be before people were doing transcripts, but I guess that.
I think it is before, but I think they, you know, went back and did it.
Yeah. I don't know what scene that is.
It's towards the end. Let me I misspelled Lovepedia. Oh, not this episode. What am I doing? Let's see.
Oh, here it is.
Oh, that was the ending. I forgot about that. Boop, boop, boop. Yeah, it's before he talks to Locke.
Well, here's one scene where he doesn't. Yeah, he just says "Dad" and nothing happens. Maybe that's it.
Yeah, that's what I remember.
I thought he said something. So Christian's never talked to Jack
No.
as a ghost? Huh, okay.
No. Christian, as far as I know, has never talked to anyone as a ghost except Vincent in that mobisode.
Maybe I'm just thinking of the fact that he actually caught up with him.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what I'm thinking. He just finally caught up with him because he had seen him before.
Yeah.
That's probably what I'm thinking, is that he caught up with him, but he didn't actually say anything. You've got work to do, son.
Yeah. Yeah, no. So far, I think Christian is not a very talkative apparition.
Well, it looks like he might be this time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Here's another weird idea. I think it's strange to think about, the various timelines from the apparition's perspective. Like, are we supposed to believe that, like, on the island now, when, Christian, comes to Claire and all that, and then, like, a couple years later he comes to see Jack, and, like, he's actually, like, doing things in between those two time frames? Like, what is this apparition doing? What is he hanging out doing for years on end? I almost want to believe he's, that these apparitions are time traveling, flashing to the future to come tell them this stuff, versus they just hang around until it's time to go talk to them in the future. So I don't know what to do about that, but I thought that was weird.
Yeah, that's the thing. I don't really know what these apparitions are. I don't know if they're, how close of a connection they have to the actual person. Who's responsible for their appearance. When they tell people to do things or send messages, like, where is that coming from? I really, and yeah, it's worth asking what their life is like when they're not appearing to people. I guess I imagine my picture of them is that they're not the person, that they're a manifestation. They're all explained by something like Jacob or the island or something like that, and it just manifests itself in that form for that person, and so these things don't have a life outside of their appearance. They're just conjured up to appear when the island wants to deliver some kind of message or do whatever.
And it's just hanging out, talking to people, and I mean, apparently he visits Hurley just to hang out. And if they're not really these people, how does it know the personality? How can it get the personality right? I mean, is it just getting it out of their brain or something? Yeah. How does it get the look and the personality right?
Well, yeah, I don't know about that. I don't know.
All right.
Magic.
Well, not every question has an answer, especially on this show.
Yeah. Yeah. But if they're really supposed to be like the person for real, their consciousness in another form, then it's a good question what they're doing in all this free time. Because they're clearly not appearing to people all the time.
Yeah. Are you ready for the next scene?
Yes, I think so. Let me think.
Yeah, I think we are.
Yeah, probably.
Next scene, Jack comes home and he hears Kate on the phone. She's sort of talking surreptitiously. She gets off the phone. Jack asks who it was, and she says it was Nora, a mom from the park. But Jack is skeptical. Kate goes upstairs, and then Jack pulls out his prescription that he got filled and washes the pills down with a nice cold beer. What a role model. That's that scene.
You know, I've seen a lot of prescriptions that tell you not to take things with alcohol.
Of course. Of course.
It's a bad idea, kids. Don't try it, please.
Yeah, I'm surprised he did that.
Yeah,
especially like, you know, just to take the pill, you know.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah.
Like,
Jack's got problems.
Mhm.
He's not stable.
He is not.
So I want to talk about the Kate thing a little bit, but I think we can talk about it in the next scene where it comes up.
Yeah, I think so. I just looked this thing up. It says use of alcohol or other CNS depressants while taking clonazepam greatly intensifies the effects and side effects of the drug.
Oh.
So maybe he knew that.
Yeah, maybe so. As a doctor,
yeah.
maybe he knew that.
Yeah, interesting. I wonder if the writers knew that. Anyway, next scene. Sawyer, Miles, and Claire are sleeping in the jungle. Claire wakes up to find Aaron missing, and then she sees Christian holding him, and then she asks, "Dad?"
Dad?
Wow.
I count 3 of those. Maybe there's more.
I really wish like someone that I know who's dead would appear to me, just so I can see how I would react.
Mhm.
I wonder if I would just go, "Dad?" or
Dad?
"Cousin?" like, do you really do that? Maybe you would.
They love the dad thing though. That's like I don't think Ben said, "Mom?"
Yeah.
I don't know. Somehow the dad thing hits home. I don't know. Because that's what Jack said. That's what Locke said. And now.
Well, they both have daddy issues.
Yeah, they certainly do. Many on this show do.
Yeah.
If the dad's a character on this show, he's probably a problem.
Mhm. You even got Michael and Walt.
Mhm.
Those guys, Walt's gonna have daddy issues.
Oh, certainly.
He already did.
He did. You're right.
Yeah.
He didn't need help to have.
He didn't even need help. He had daddy issues before he even got on the plane.
Mhm.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. It's really not a good world for daddies.
Maybe the whole thing is Jacob has daddy issues.
Oh no!
And that's why he's doing stuff, because he's like. All right. Next scene.
I thought it was odd and kind of creepy that Christian was holding the baby.
Oh, I forgot. We should probably talk about this one, huh?
Maybe just a little.
I'm ready to move on. I guess that's important. Yeah, I mean, the fact that Christian apparently picked up the baby and was holding him and all that stuff is really crazy. And obviously Claire doesn't know her dad's dead, or I would assume she doesn't because by her reaction. We don't know if she knows, right? Well, she really shouldn't know.
I believe she does not know.
Yeah.
Because she doesn't know that. She doesn't even know the guy's name.
Yeah.
They established that, and so she doesn't know that he's Jack's dad, and so no, she doesn't know that he was dead on the plane.
Now she saw him right when her mom was sick.
Yeah.
Okay, because I was wondering how she even knew what he looked like, but I forgot about that that little part where she actually met she I forgot that. What episode was that?
That was Par Avion.
Oh, of course. Every time I forget what episode it is, it's always the ones I don't like.
Yeah.
That's why I forget. Yeah,
Not one of the highlights of season 3, but it was okay. Yeah, that was the one where because her mom goes into this coma, her dad shows up and pays the medical bills and tries to establish some kind of contact with her, and yeah, that's when she sees him for the first time. And I guess the story goes that he went back to see her, and to drink himself to death. In Australia, and he goes and he's just shunned by her aunt, I guess, and so he ends up just dying. But I don't think he saw her on his final trip to Australia. So although it's possible that she knew he was there, that her aunt may have told her that he was there. Although I could see her not saying it also.
Well, I mean, if she was in the house, she probably heard the commotion, and probably, even if the aunt lied about it, she probably assumed who it was. So. Yeah,
that's true. So she may have known she was there, but that doesn't mean she knows he's related to Jack or that he died after that. So yeah, I don't think she has any idea about all that stuff. But she doesn't know what he looks like, at least, so he can say that.
Yeah.
But just the idea of this apparition, like picking up her baby and like that's just
that's the thing. Like if these are just manifestations, I don't understand why he has any interest in the baby. He's acting like a real grandfather would. That's why I want to believe these are the real people somehow. You know, and maybe it's the real people plus. Like it's some sort of hybrid. It's like it's their essence, but without the island or without Jacob, they wouldn't be able to manifest themselves. Something like that. But I feel like it's got to be them because they have the personality.
Yeah, that's a good point. And I agree.
I mean, and that's the thing. A lot of times they show, especially with Christian, they show him being just sort of, stoic and, not saying anything. And he just seems like a automaton. But with this scene and some other scenes, it's like, okay, well, he's showing real personality, and we've seen other people show real personality, and it's like, okay, what's going on here?
Yeah. I mean, he seemed to have his personality in the Mobisode.
Definitely, yeah.
So, yeah. Charlie had his personality in the thing we saw. So, but sometimes they do seem like automatons, and they just seem to be unnecessarily creepy. Yeah. I think Yimmy was sort of like that. He didn't necessarily behave like himself. And Walt too. I think Walt was not like himself. He was kind of just creepy.
Well, maybe there's bad twin versions of all these people.
Oh God!
This is a good Christian.
Oh, I hate that bad twin thing. That appeared in like every theory in season 2.
Yeah, it did.
Like I think a lot of people that had it in their theory never read the book. They just kind of put bad twin in their theory.
Yeah.
Hey, they got something called bad twin. Just
put it in there.
Yeah. Somehow you have to incorporate bad twins. Yeah, that's the thing though. Walt is, apparently not dead. So so it puts his apparition in a different category, I think, than Christian or Yemi.
Walt is a different category anyway because he seemed to appear before he was even, he had those circumstances where he just kind of appeared to people and he may be able to remote view or something.
Oh boy.
He's a special case.
He is, yeah. He is. But, his apparition did behave strangely. Not in the way he normally behaved. So it's not consistent. Some of that might just be atmosphere, because it's sort of creepier if they behave that way.
Yeah.
But yeah, it does seem to be suggesting something that he's kind of like looking at the baby and that he even cares to like sit there and the way it plays out, it seems like he's been sitting there for a while just holding this baby, you know, with no thought, you know, not worried about like, you know, well, I got to appear to Claire. Like it makes it seem like he just wanted to like cuddle with the baby for a while.
I think it was, I kind of got the sense he wanted to kind of cuddle with the baby, but I also got the sense he knew that would wake her up.
Mm-hmm.
You know, she's in this situation where she's probably not sleeping in a deep sleep anyway, you know, because she's got a baby and you know, they're on the run and they're in this situation, you know. So I think it was kind of probably both of it. He wanted to kind of, you know, get the baby, but I think he, you know, was really more about getting her because they leave the baby behind.
Mhm.
You know.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
I think it was just kind of having their cake and eating it too, but
yeah,
you know, we'll see. I don't know why he's interested in Claire now.
I don't either. God,
didn't seem to be at first.
Yeah, I know. No one's been interested in Claire.
Not since Charlie's dead.
No.
Charlie was the only one who cared, Claire.
Yeah, sorry, Charlie, but like, yeah, I don't think. I mean, Claire's had nothing going on for a long time.
Yeah.
So it is weird to have her like have stuff happen all of a sudden.
Mm-hmm.
And one, meaning me, does wonder, you know, why now? One
means you?
Yeah.
So it's you, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, bad joke. What did you say?
I'm sorry. I didn't get it, and then I got it.
No, it's a horrible joke. It was intentionally bad.
Yeah, no, I believe you. Yeah, no, all I was saying was I was just using too many words to say. I wonder, you know, just in general, like why now? You know, why has Claire just been hanging around for a long time, and now apparitions. Now she's called.
Yeah, and like Christian never appeared to her before.
Yeah.
You know, like I got a daughter. Yeah, you already knew that, you know.
Yeah, the baby's been around for a long time. Like it just I don't know. It just seems kind of contrived that all of a sudden, you know, the island cares about her.
Yeah. Well, and to, you know, in defense of whatever, they are in sort of a dire situation now, and you know, potentially, you know, people are getting off the island. Well, obviously some people do, but you know, this is a special situation, but I think it still bears asking the question, why now? You know, but there is some stuff going on.
Yeah, that's true. Maybe that's why. I mean,
I think that might just be why.
I'll buy that. But just in general, you know, why did Jack's dad appear to him way early on?
You know what? That's a good question. Is what, you know, and nothing ever happened with that.
Yeah.
You know, nothing. I mean, yeah, it's like, why would you appear to him? I mean, he hasn't appeared to him since.
No.
On the island.
And
so.
For all we know, the next time he appears to him is after Jack's back in the real world.
Mhm.
You know, which is just weird. It's like it seems like the original appearance served no purpose.
Yeah.
You know.
Which I think when he originally appeared, I can't even imagine what they were thinking back then.
Yeah.
I really don't even know what they were thinking.
Yeah, I don't either. I can't.
Where they thought that would go or anything.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah, that was really early. I can't imagine how much of the show they really had in their mind. I mean, they knew nothing about Ben at the time.
Yeah.
You know, it would be interesting. I wish if they had like a thing or something where they could say where the show would have gone. I'd be curious to know.
Yeah.
What would have happened? What their original vision was, unadapted to various actors being good.
Various actors who are just so good they need to rewrite the direction of the show.
Yeah.
This makes the second episode we haven't seen the freighter people, right?
Yeah.
That's pretty crazy. I mean, if they're not in the next episode, come on.
They really should be in the next episode. I agree. But I don't know. I mean, they have to show up pretty soon. There aren't that many episodes left, and that story has to come to something.
Yeah.
So,
Are you ready for the next scene?
Let me think. Yeah.
All right, so we're back at the beach. Bernard comes out to tell Kate that the surgery went well. Inside the tent, Juliet is stitching Jack's wound, or incision or whatever. Juliet tells Kate that he should be fine, and Juliet also apologizes for yelling at her. She tells Kate that Jack kissed her, but it wasn't for her. It was just that Jack was trying to prove that he didn't love someone else, e.g. Kate. Kate thanks her for saving Jack's life and then leaves. And then Juliet tells Jack that she knows he's awake, and then we see that he is awake. So
at last the truth is told.
Yeah, I thought about that too. This when he kissed her. When we in the beginning of this episode when we saw Kate and Jack together, I was thinking, oh, I guess that means he doesn't, end up with Juliet.
Mm-hmm.
And I was thinking where that whole thing was going to go because it seemed like they were, something had been brewing for a while with them.
Mm-hmm.
Ever since the old mini island days. There was some sort of connection they had back then.
And the toothpicks and the grilled cheese.
Exactly. She made the best sandwiches,
Mm-hmm.
So that's interesting.
Yeah, I thought this was odd. I'm not sure. Maybe my memory's wrong, but from what I remember, that way back in, not way back, but in the season finale of season 3, when Juliet and I guess it's Sawyer go off to check in on the waiting ambush party. They go back to make sure they're okay because they only hear 2 explosions go off. And they're worried.
Mm-hmm.
When they leave, Juliet kisses Jack there, and Kate's right there. She sees it happen.
Mm-hmm.
And I just found this scene weird because it made it seem like she had never heard that they had kissed before.
Mm-hmm.
And I even saw people saying that, like she finds out that they kissed, and like I remember this scene from the season 3 finale where she saw it happen. They cut to her to say like, ooh, Kate's jealous or whatever,
Yeah, I forgot about that. That's weird.
So I feel like this isn't much of a revelation to Kate. Like, maybe she didn't know that second one happened. But
yeah, maybe she thought, that was a while ago and she hadn't heard anything and it wasn't, I forget the circumstances, so I don't know. But, she didn't seem really upset to hear this because, she and Jack aren't dating. They're not together.
Yeah.
They just have feelings for each other because they've known each other a long time. But, because she's just like, oh, he kissed you, okay,
Yeah.
But it does make it seem like that was the first kiss they had, which isn't true. So that's a good tip to bring up.
Yeah.
Tidbit, I should say.
It was just bugging me, the whole scene.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It's like, Kate, you've already seen it. You already knew this. But, her reaction wasn't extreme, which it shouldn't have been.
Yeah. She's basically saying, he kissed me, but it wasn't for me. It was for you. You know?
Yeah.
Or that's what I keep thinking that it wasn't for me. It was for you. It wasn't for her. It was for him. Like, which
Yeah.
I get what she's saying, but I want to think of it as he was kissing Juliet because he really wished he was kissing Kate.
Yeah.
That's what I think is the point, but they explain it a different way, which is the same thing, really.
Yeah, I think
It's the same thing.
I think that is the point. So everybody who's wondering who Kate's going to end up with, I don't know. I guess this episode makes it seem like it's temporary, but it appears she ends up with Jack at least for a while.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess I can talk about that a little more later when the next scene happens.
Yeah, okay, so next scene, we're in the future. Flash forward. Jack is sulking in the dark in the living room. Kate comes home and asks where the nanny is. She sees all of the alcohol that Jack has been drinking. He's got a couple bottles of beer that are done, and he's working on a big bottle of some sort of alcohol. And she asks, Jack asks why the nanny was even there. And Kate asks why Jack is home early. And this is where I told myself to switch to the transcript.
Oh.
So let's see. So she says she has some errands to do, and she, asked the nanny to stay a couple extra hours. Then she asks why he's home so early. He says he went to see Hurley. And she says, why didn't you tell me? And he says, because Hurley's crazy and he didn't want to upset her. And he asks where she was. And Kate asks him to trust her, that, just leave it be. And Jack asks again, where were you? He starts pressing her, and she's like, don't, Jack, don't. And he says, he's getting sort of jealous and paranoid at this point and saying, I heard you on the phone last night. Who are you talking to? And we find out that she was busy doing something for him, and the him is Sawyer, that Kate made a promise. And that, but apparently it doesn't matter what it is because it's got nothing to do with her and Jack. Jack still doesn't understand why she won't just tell him, and she says it's because Sawyer wouldn't want her to tell him. And Jack, basically says, but, he's not here, I'm here. I'm the one who chose to stay. I'm the one who came back. I'm, blah, blah, blah. I'm the one who saved you. And, Kate's upset and basically says, I can't have you, you've got these problems, and I can't have you around my son. And Jack says, your son, you're not even related to him. And of course, who is there to hear this? Is the next lost character with daddy problems? Because he's gonna forever remember
the next generation of
exactly of young people being disappointed by their father figure. And then
Jack.
Yeah, Aaron comes in, and that's why when kids are old enough to walk, you gotta, lock them in their rooms at night.
That's good advice. Parents, take note, please.
Parenting 101. Come on, people. So that's pretty much the scene. Kate goes to console Aaron, and that's the scene.
Yeah. Okay. I have various things in this episode. Question scene. Wow, I can't even...
You have various things in this episode question scene? Wow. Well, go right ahead.
I can't. Oh, that was terrible.
I got various things in this question episode scene. Yikes, I think you need some clonazepam.
I don't know. I just threw a bunch of nouns together.
Well, one of these will work.
Yeah. Just select the one that fits and go with that, please.
Exactly. I think if we rearrange what you said, we can piece together a logical sentence.
Yeah, that's all I intended.
Yeah, that's fine.
You do my coherence for me, please.
Exactly.
I can't be bothered. Okay. No, what I was trying to say is something like I have questions about this scene or something like that. I couldn't phrase it.
There's some things you want to talk about in this scene.
Yeah. So where do I start here? Okay, well, first of all, this is clearly reminiscent of the season 1 premiere. That little thing with Jack and
the season 1 premiere?
Season 3. Oh, I'm an ass.
The season 1 premiere is the pilot.
I can't get anything right. Sorry. So season 3. I can't believe I said season 1. Season 3 premiere. The Tale of Two Cities, the one where Jack's jealous of his ex-wife and he thinks his dad is sleeping with her, and and he gets sort of obsessively jealous. You know, this is the same kind of behavior coming out. It's understandable that he's I don't know, curious about what's going on, but it seems like he takes it too far too quickly, because he in the case of that episode, he had he found out that that she had called him, that she had called his dad, and I feel like there was something else too that led him to think that, like, he had a little more to go on. He really has nothing here except that she's somewhere and she's being evasive about where she was. But anyway, that's a minor note, but I just wanted to say it. The big question I have about this scene, one of the questions is, what is this thing that Kate's doing?
She's planning a surprise party for Jack.
Oh.
Sawyer
made her promise to
exactly.
give Jack a party.
Sawyer's going to be the clown at the party.
Oh.
Yeah. No, I wonder if it's something really simple. Obviously it's not, but I feel like if it was something sinister, she wouldn't be so adamant about him trusting her. I feel like if she really had something to hide, she would be lying. She would lie to cover her tracks, because she's not lying. She's basically saying, yeah, something is going on. It's involving Sawyer, but I can't tell you. You need to trust me. And I feel like it's probably not going to be a really bad thing, since this is how she's presenting it. If she was like, no, you're crazy, nothing's going on, and it's obvious she's lying, then it would be like, okay, maybe something sinister is going on. I think it's got something, I think she's, I'll take her word for it that it really doesn't have to do with Jack. It's probably something, I think it's something, whenever they left the island and Sawyer stayed behind, I'm assuming Sawyer's still on the island, because they make it seem like maybe Sawyer's the one she was talking to on the phone, but I don't know. I don't know if we're supposed to believe that or not. I feel like he's still on the island. But anyway, I feel like it's something where
Jack says as much.
Oh, did he say that?
He says that.
Oh, that's right. I'm the one who stayed, and I'm the one who chose to stay. I'm the one who came back. Yeah. Oh, he chose to stay.
He chose to stay.
Yeah, I keep saying yeah.
You said that when you read the line, and I was like, oh. We'll get to it later, but yeah, that's the other thing I get out of the scene, like the idea that Sawyer could have left the island.
That is the other big, big revelation, and how much he could have chosen, we'll see.
Yeah.
People say things like that in hindsight, but we'll see if he really had a real choice.
They do, yeah. People say a lot of things on the show. Last week, Wade Moore said that Ben was responsible for Alex being killed. And when you see the events play out, it's if he had just said that and we hadn't seen what happened, then we might imagine some circumstance where he was responsible. But and that's the thing. Like, he's responsible to a certain degree, but not in any real way. So who knows how much of a choice he had, but I feel like it's probably got something to do with maybe Sawyer's kid. Maybe maybe he said, I want you to, not that I don't think Sawyer knows he has a kid. He knows he has a kid.
Does he know?
Yeah, because Cassidy came and visited him in prison.
Oh, that's right. Oh, man. Oh, the Clementine. Oh, yeah. I forgot.
And at the end of the episode, the con that he does in the prison, he instructs the warden to take the money and put it in an account for the kid.
That's right. I knew, it was weird. I knew he had put money in the account for his kid, but I forgot that he knew he had a kid. So, so anyway, So I feel like maybe it was something to do with that. Maybe he wanted Kate to track down, what's her name?
Cassidy.
And
Cassidy and Clementine.
They're two broads in the Old West. And I feel like it might have something to do with that.
Yeah, that was my first thought. To be something Sawyer would ask her to do.
Mm-hmm. Now, Sawyer doesn't know that Kate knows Cassidy because
that's true.
Because Kate doesn't even know Cassidy under her real name, right?
Yeah, I don't think Kate knows who Cassidy is.
Okay. But that could have been a surprise.
Yeah.
When he said go find Cassidy, and she tracks her down and she's like, "You?"
Mhm.
You know, but so I don't know. I don't know if it has something to do with that or not, but
yeah, sorry.
No problem. I'm done. I don't think it's anything sinister, but I don't really know what it could be.
I agree. Like I instinctively trust Kate as she asked Jack to do that she isn't up to anything. I just I believe her that she's doing a favor for Sawyer, and I believe her that that he doesn't need to know, and Sawyer wouldn't want him to know for whatever reason. I mean, I think that's odd. I don't see why Sawyer wouldn't want Kate to tell Jack. If it's just something to do with his kid. I mean, I think that's, I can't see why he would not want Jack to know that. I mean, it's innocuous. Like Jack wouldn't mind. I don't think. If
having a kid out of wedlock, I don't know. No. Yeah, I don't know. It could just be something he just doesn't want her to, And it seems like it's not that Sawyer told Kate not to tell him. It's just that she thinks Sawyer wouldn't want him to know, right?
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, yeah. I don't think she says he told.
Yeah, she says, he says, "Why won't you tell me?" She says, "Because he wouldn't want me to, not because she said not to."
He told me not to. Yeah. Well, that's if she is just going on an assumption. I mean, then I would especially wonder why she thinks Sawyer wouldn't want her to say, "Well, he asked me to look in on his kid," or I can't imagine Jack would be pissed about that.
This could just be unnecessary drama to a certain degree. It might be like, she's wrong and that Jack won't care and Sawyer wouldn't care and she should just tell him. But I think it's really about us not knowing at this point. I think that's really what it's about.
Yeah, I guess so. But that's the thing. I feel like a plot involving Kate and Sawyer is just not going to get that crazy. It's I feel like it's constrained to be a relatively boring plot.
Oh, you think so?
Yeah.
Well, I think it needs to be somewhat interesting. Kate and Sawyer in a flash forward. I feel like it needs to be somewhat interesting, but
I feel like it's a personal, touching thing. I feel like it's not going to be.
Mm-hmm. Oh, it's not like Saeed killing people around the world for Ben.
Yeah, exactly. And I've seen that theory. Like I saw people say, "Oh, Kate's working for Ben," and
that's a viable idea, I guess.
I just don't believe it. I trust her. I believe she's doing something for Sawyer, and I believe that it's not something that's gonna shake the universe if we know what it is.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess for now, that's the thing that's bugging me is I feel like if it's really as trivial as I think it is, they should have just given it away instead of leaving it for later.
They're probably going to leave it for later because they want to spend more time on it. And it's probably going to be they're going to trick us and they're going to do all kinds of stuff when they get to it.
Yeah.
And I think Jack is, he's obviously had been drinking for a while. He's been sulking. He's already prone to jealousy. So I think, he's sort of sort of upset and attacking her because of all of those circumstances. And
yeah,
I think it's less about this Sawyer thing than more about him being unstable.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, that's the main point here. But they have now introduced a mystery. To carry on in future episodes. And also people brought up the thing from the finale, the season 3 finale, when Jack meets Kate at the airport and she's like, he's
waiting.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's the thing. If Sawyer was in the real world, I would say maybe she means Sawyer. But since he's still on the island, she must still mean Aaron.
Oh, that's right, Aaron. It was supposed to be Aaron.
Yeah, that was the revelation when we found out that that Kate has Aaron. We were like, oh, okay.
Aaron.
That's what that means. She means Aaron, but and then the Sawyer thing, I don't think negates that because he's still on the island.
Yeah. Okay. Mhm. Yeah. 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 Aaron just.
Don't forget about him. He's one of the Oceanic Six.
Yeah. I just I forgot about that. I was just put him out of my mind. Okay, so she's talking about Aaron. Okay. What else did I want to say? There's something else here. Oh, the thing about Sawyer choosing to stay. I wonder if that's when Sawyer decides to go back to Jack. I keep wondering how what the circumstances are going to be where the Oceanic Six get off. Like I'm wondering if do you think everyone's going to get the choice, or is it just Sawyer?
Well, the helicopter can really only seat so many people.
Okay.
I mean, if it's the helicopter that the way that they get off, I feel like it only seats so many people. I don't really know what he means by choice.
But they could. They could come back. The helicopter's made multiple trips.
Yeah, but I think it's going to be a situation where they can't come back. I mean, they kind of said that, right? I mean, I think once the freighter leaves or sinks or blows up or whatever happens to the freighter, I don't know what's going to happen. But whatever happens to the freighter and the helicopter, I think that's it in terms of them. They just won't be able to get back there very easily. I mean, that's the way they painted the picture from this first the first flash forward we saw. That it was you can't come back and all that stuff. So I don't really know. I don't really know what choice he's really going to have. But Sawyer didn't want to leave anyway. He told Kate there was nothing for him anyway. So I think that's going to be why he chooses to stay.
Even though he knows he's got a kid.
Yeah, he knows he's got a kid, but I don't think he wants to be a father.
I guess not.
I don't think he has any interest in that, and what that would mean for him to be a father, to have to go back home and get a regular job, he wouldn't want to go back and support his kid by conning people.
Mm-hmm.
He already has like a arrest record or whatever.
Yeah.
So anyway, I don't think he wants to go back in the first place, but And I think he would probably rather see Jack with Kate with Jack anyway.
Mhm.
He probably is the kind of person who's like, she's better off with him than with me.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. But
in terms of their rescue, I don't think everyone's going to get the opportunity to leave. I just don't see it. What are they going to do? Draw straws to see who gets on the helicopter? I mean, there's a fair number of people left, so.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I just imagine multiple trips.
I think they might claim that they're going to do multiple trips, and they might claim, they might say we'll come back for you guys or something. But obviously that doesn't happen, and I don't think it's going to be easy to happen. Even if they could try.
Mhm.
For whatever reason, I don't know. Maybe something's going to happen to the island. Maybe it'll be invisible again once they're done with all this.
Mhm. Yeah. Okay. All right.
And I picture their exodus being very quick, them not having a lot of time to really think about this. Which might also be why only certain people get on, Maybe, because where the helicopter isn't, necessarily anywhere close to the beach where most of the people are. So it could just be that who's ever near the helicopter when it's ready to take off is really the ones who have the ability to decide if they want to go or not.
Mhm.
Because if Sawyer, gets back. I mean, basically, Sawyer and Miles are going to go back to the beach, and they're going to basically say Claire's missing, and you know, Miles claims she went with her dad or whatever, or you know, she went with this guy, and you know, then they might be searching for Claire, and then that leads, you know, the group of people who decide to search, they, you know, that leads them to Lapidus and the helicopter, and there's a shootout with Keamy and the guys, or whatever happens, and it's like, well, we need to go if we're going to go, and they end up getting to the freighter, but that's really the last time, you know. So, I don't know. So it could play out like that.
Yeah, I do envision it like that, being a tense situation where they don't have long to think about what they're doing, and it just comes down to quick choices.
Mm-hmm.
That does seem like yeah.
Can you think of anyone who apparently has stayed on the island that you wouldn't think would have wanted to stay?
Stayed. Well, who is there? I guess, let me think. Well, Juliet.
Yeah,
I don't think Juliet would want to stay.
Juliet probably wants to leave, yeah. And by that. Well, she definitely wants to.
Yeah, no, I don't really know what happens to her. Does she get to choose? Does she?
She probably dies.
She probably dies. Well, yeah.
I bet Juliet dies.
Think so? Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what else they're gonna do with her.
They set up that thing with her and Ben. I feel like maybe they're gonna pay that off somehow.
Yeah, she's probably gonna die saving them, or doing something crazy, or using some specific knowledge she knows to do something, and that's how it always works out.
Yeah.
Who else is on there? I mean, obviously Rose and Bernard want to stay. Locke wants to stay. Who else is in the main cast?
Yeah, I can't.
The audience, people listening are like shouting names.
I know.
I'm sure.
I mean, I think Claire would definitely want to leave, but
yeah.
she may not have chosen to stay per se.
Mhm.
Let me see. Well, I think Jen would want to leave, but but it seems like he would rather have Sun leave than himself.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it from the. I mean, Desmond should want to leave.
Desmond, he's still on the show?
Yeah. Last I heard, he did everybody's favorite episode.
Oh, man.
As far as everyone's concerned, like, you know, Desmond's plot is at the center of the show. So,
yeah.
you know, it's all about
it was for a while.
time travel and, yeah. Yeah. Well,
he's got one of the more crazy, he's probably got, I mean, almost the most craziest story going on.
The most craziest story
I know.
of all.
The most craziest. Yeah, because he's time traveling and he's imploding and all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, his story is crazy. I agree. But I mean, I definitely think he desperately wants to leave. So, and he's on the freighter. I mean, I really wonder how this is going to go down. He doesn't need to get on the helicopter. Yeah,
I think he might get, you know, I don't know if he's going back to the island, but I don't think he, you know, he's obviously not one of the Oceanic Six, and he shouldn't be. But I think he's going to somehow find salvation. But, you know, I don't know what that means in terms of Widmore claiming that, you know, Penelope's hidden and, you know, is she with Desmond at this point, or, you know?
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Yeah, I had a thought that maybe Penny would provide the rescue somehow. That she would show up and be the one responsible for the Oceanic Six.
She's gonna have. I mean, that's a good idea. I wonder how. I mean, she doesn't really necessarily know anything about how to get there in terms of the barrier and all that stuff, how to get there safely. So I wonder how she would navigate that.
Yeah.
You know, what would she do? I mean, would she fly in? Because most boats apparently crash if you get too close.
Yeah.
You know.
Mhm.
So, I wonder how she would navigate that. But that would be interesting if she showed up. I mean, she's ripe to do so. I mean, she just talked to Desmond.
Yeah,
and knows that he's alive.
I was thinking about, what was it? Something I can't remember, but something made me think that Widmore's team here had nothing to do with the Oceanic Six. I keep thinking that for various reasons. I can't even remember exactly what they were, but for some reason I got on that, and then I was trying to think about how they could leave, and then I realized that Penny was also looking for the island, and she's at least a friendly person who would I think be willing to rescue people.
Totally.
Since the freighter people revealed last week that they're not going to rescue him. I'm really wondering how the rescue happens. I keep trying to get it to work, and so yeah.
Yeah, and with the freighter engines apparently not working and all that stuff, it's like it doesn't seem like the helicopter and the freighter are necessarily the best way to leave at this point.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, they need work. So
yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, I could see the captain, if they don't kill him or something. I could see, if the helicopter lands and they've got the Oceanic 6 on board, and it's some situation where they just got to get out of there. I could see him, being like, fine, I'll take you. I don't see him killing them or something, especially with a baby. But I feel like it might be something like that where they just show up and it's like, well, he's got to leave and he just decides to take them instead of throwing them overboard. It would be pretty crazy.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So it's a decision he makes on his own.
Yeah. Or the captain could be dead by the next time we get there, and and they just take over the ship and somehow get it to where it needs to go.
Get it to work. Yeah.
They got a couple options, obviously. So.
Yeah. The other thing I wonder is what's supposed to happen to Michael.
Yeah.
Does he stay on the island? If
Michael needs to go back home. I think Michael's going to have to go back and to be with Walt, or else I don't like his storyline.
Okay.
Or else I'm going to pout.
I'm going to throw a hissy.
Yeah, I think he's going to be okay, and I think he's going to make it back to Walt.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, because he really, his thing's weird. And continue to live under an alias?
Yeah, because if he gets back to the island and lives there forever, what a horrible story for him. I mean, he's not only, he rescued his son, but he can't be with him. That's just awful. I mean, that's just, ugh. I don't think that'll happen.
Yeah, it sucks.
Yeah, I think he's already a crew member. He's already got a nickname, an alias, and so I think if they go into rescue or they go to whatever the next port is, it won't be a big deal for him to just leave,
Yeah.
Because he's already got his credentials and everything he needs to do that. So.
Okay. Yeah, I mean he shouldn't be around the Oceanic 6 because, he was on the plane.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I think in the hubbub of, oh my God, these people were from A15, blah blah blah, and he'll just slink off in the distance.
Okay. That's the thing I kind of wondered about Juliet and Desmond since they weren't on the plane. I wondered if it was possible that they did get off, and that.
I think it's definitely possible, especially with Desmond. I think it's very. I think it's likely that Desmond got off.
Yeah, and that they're not getting media attention because the media doesn't know about them, or just because they weren't on the plane and the media doesn't care about them.
No, I think it's that I think it would be that the media doesn't know about them, because I think the media would care that the plane crashed and that these people were on the island and they weren't on the manifest, and how did they get there and blah blah blah, and they would have to answer a lot of questions. So yeah. I think they would have to stay out of it.
Especially Desmond's got a reasonable explanation.
But nevertheless, he would still have to explain how he survived on the island for 3 years or whatever, and what he was doing. They would ask him questions about it, and he'd have to come up with all of that.
Yeah.
And obviously he wouldn't be able to tell them the truth without really getting into trouble.
Without, yeah.
You know, so I think the best solution for them would just to pretend to be a crew aboard the freighter and just leave with the same way Michael leaves, they would just leave.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I don't know what Juliet has besides her sister. I mean, I don't know, in terms of any, something pulling her to do anything. That's the only thing I think she has is her sister, so I would assume she'd want to go be with her sister in Portland.
Yeah, I agree.
Because didn't her sister have a baby?
I don't think her sister's in Portland, though.
Didn't her sister have a baby, too?
Yeah, she made her sister have a baby.
Why does everyone have babies on this show?
Because, you know what? Because babies are the most specialist thing in the world.
Babies are God's lollipops.
And
I don't know what that means. I guess that means you're supposed to lick them.
Yeah.
I was thinking something small and sweet, but whatever. Pay no attention to the man behind the podcast.
Please. Yeah, I mean, babies are symbolic of hope and life going on, and
not the babies I know.
And it's often that I see the end of a movie where they just had a baby, or the woman's pregnant, or it's often like a sign that to have hope,
Yeah.
And babies represent that a lot of times, but they got too many babies floating around.
Too many babies per capita, if you ask me.
Yeah, I mean, I'm thankful that Claire didn't have a baby.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry, not Claire, Kate.
Yeah.
Kate.
I was like, what? I'm like, what do you mean? Yeah, Kate.
Because they were dangling that in front of us for a little while. The idea that she might have a baby. I mean, she easily could have, given circumstances. Because
you're talking about people having babies, and then you say dangle, and I'm like, never mind. Yeah, I'm surprised that they did not Kate up too.
Yeah, because being the sort of female lead of the show, but I guess their way out is just they gave her Aaron.
Yeah.
So she can go on to have a kid without actually getting pregnant and having another kid in the mix.
A la the easy way.
A la the easy way.
Are you ready for the last scene, buddy?
Let me think. I'm going to say, yeah.
All right. Then let me find the last scene. It's really small and short. I should just say short. Let's see. So we're back at the little area where they were where Miles and Claire and Sawyer were camping. It's the next morning, and Miles is cooking something, and Sawyer says it's way too early for Chinese. I don't really know what that means. Was he cooking a Chinese thing or so? Or is that some sort of joke that Miles is Asian and he's cooking something?
Yeah, I think that's what it's supposed to be.
Okay. How offensive.
Yeah, Sawyer.
Sawyer
is proudly politically incorrect.
That's season 1 Sawyer. Come on.
It is so season 1 Sawyer.
So Miles tells Sawyer that Claire walked off into the jungle, and she just got up and left, but she wasn't alone. Ooh. She went with someone, and she called that someone Dad. And she would have followed them, but he would have followed them, but he has a restraining order. And we hear Aaron crying in the distance, and Sawyer goes over and finds him laying gingerly on a on a leaf or something, and picks him up and starts to call out for Claire, and Claire's nowhere to be found and lost.
All right, so here we are.
Good luck breastfeeding, Sawyer.
Those nipples on guys, they were just really not very useful.
Yeah, they're much like the appendix.
Yeah, they just kind of sit there, and they look all right, but they're not really doing much.
Yeah, they're mostly cosmetics.
It's weird. It's a weird thing. Yeah, I don't know.
Well, the difference between a man and a woman is like one chromosome, right?
Yeah. I did know that, I think.
So it's pretty crazy.
Mhm. Yeah.
So in this scene, we see that apparently Claire went off with Christian. Why she left the baby, is obviously the big question. I don't believe Claire would ever just leave Aaron like that. I think we'll see some sort of instance. I mean, we'll see, the circumstances around what happened, but
yeah, I don't see her deciding to leave the baby.
yeah, unless it's, unless it was, very well. He says he left in the middle of the night, so that, I mean, does that mean that Aaron's been sitting over there for a while?
Yeah.
Maybe sleeping. Maybe he was sleeping for a while and just woke up or something.
Mhm.
But I don't really see her just leaving him without knowing he's going to be okay at least.
Yeah, I agree. That's why it's really weird.
Yeah.
That's why it's really weird. And as far as I don't remember, has there ever been a time where someone has just disappeared without a reasonable explanation?
If someone's disappeared?
Yeah. Has anything like this ever happened before?
Well, someone's disappeared. I feel like it has to. The question is, disappear, what does that really mean? I mean, obviously she just went somewhere, She obviously went somewhere, right?
Well, what I'm trying to say is where we don't have like we don't have a good explanation for why she's not there.
Besides the fact that she went with Christian?
Yeah, I mean, in other cases, the others kidnapped them, so it's sort of straightforward why they're not there. Like,
Well, you don't think this is straightforward that she just went with Christian?
But why?
Oh yeah, I mean I don't know why. Obviously there's some reason he came to her and wants her to do something. I think we'll find out the why later. But yeah, I mean when people disappeared, when Cindy disappeared, obviously that was the others, and the reason was the others took them, and the why was because she's a good person or whatever. But yeah, we don't really know. I mean, we know that she just left, but we don't know why yet. So I don't know. Yeah. I don't think there's any other situations where someone disappeared where we didn't at least at some point find out why.
Yeah.
So,
and I guess I'm trying to say like a disappearance with apparently like real supernatural explanation. Like Cindy's disappearance did seem that way, but I guess it turns out she was just taken in such a way that they didn't see it happen. But
yeah,
because I really don't think the others are supernatural anymore. So, but in this case, this Christian apparition, like leading her somewhere, having her come along. I mean, that's just.
I mean, that's happened before. I mean, Jack followed his dad to places. Yimmy Echo followed Yimmy. And like, I mean, they've led people to places. I mean, that's not crazy.
Okay.
Especially this Christian who's like hanging out with the baby and stuff. And I could see him saying, come with me, Claire, or whatever, and it's really important or something.
I guess in most cases we get to follow them, so we're not left in the dark about what they're doing. But yeah, I guess she could have just walked off to some other part of the island and.
That's what I mean. I really don't think she vanished, like she disappeared. Like if you were looking at her, that she just vanishes. I mean, that's what Miles says, is that she walked off into the jungle. She got up and left. So I think that she just physically left, and if you could track her, you probably could find where she is. If Kate was there or Locke or any of the other awesome trackers that are around on the island.
Yeah, plentiful supply. Okay, all right. So she's just somewhere on the island, doing whatever
There's
for
a
Christian.
there's a spoiler from a promotional photo that tells where she probably is.
Oh dear. Okay.
Yeah, for people who want to find that out.
Is that do you know where that's available?
Someone posted it on our forum under I don't know, probably in the episode thread, but I don't really remember what topic.
It's that one with the spoiler.
Yeah, you'll see it. Yeah, it has
okay.
a spoiler tag on it. So
yeah, I believe that's in the episode thing.
TLLD.net.
I'm inclined to not look at it, but okay. I don't know. I did imagine her vanishing, like just like walking.
No, I don't think she vanished.
I imagine her walking into the woods. I imagine her walking in the woods and vanishing the way the way some of the apparitions have sort of done.
Mm-hmm.
Where they sort of walk into the jungle and like, maybe they never show them disappearing.
But you get the sense that if you followed them, you wouldn't see them anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I don't think that's what happened. I don't think Claire has the power to really do that, and
I just have I have a hard time seeing Claire actually go with Christian, of her own accord.
Oh, why? Why do you think that?
Because I feel like to her, she wants to. I feel like her primary mission is keeping her baby safe.
I think it's really funny that Claire has a primary mission. My utmost mission is to make sure my baby is safe. Oh, Claire. Of course.
I don't think she's
obviously
interested in the island's mysteries. I don't.
Well, but that's the whole reason why Christian shows up to her and not someone else who would entice her. Come with me, I'll tell you the island mysteries. That's not. I can guarantee that's not what he said. He is, obviously that's her dad, and obviously she should think it's strange that he's there. I mean, and if she knew that he was dead, she would even think it was more strange. But I think whatever he says to her is going to be enticing enough to where, and obviously with the circumstances of him just showing up out of nowhere will prove that it's important for her to do what he says. I mean, that's basically what happens in these situations, when Charlie shows up and he's dead, you're going to pay attention to what he says because he's dead, He's just sort of not there. If he was just alive and says something, that's one thing. But if he's dead and he's telling you the island wants you back, then that gives it some weight. So, I think it's. I mean, obviously leaving the baby is the sort of big problem here.
Yeah,
but I think
that's the main thing. But even with her, I just have a hard time imagining Claire wandering off on some errand to the island.
Would you? Hey, I want you to say that again. You have a hard time picturing Claire. Just do you remember the whole thing with Claire and Ethan? Like, here, take my baby. Here, blah blah blah. Like she was pretty crazy back then. And maybe she was drugged up or something.
Yeah. I mean, I think she was supposed to be drugged. I mean, the only time I can remember her getting like into a mission was the maternity leave thing, and that was because the baby was sick. I feel like in general she's not the type to go off on adventures, and certainly not to leave her baby. But even if she brought her baby, like I just, she doesn't seem to be the kind of character who would do that.
I'm back.
Oh, you were gone. Wow, that was quick.
Did you even know I was gone?
No, I didn't. It didn't seem like that long.
Yeah, no, I called back really quick.
Okay, wow, I didn't even get to do my news of the day.
Oh.
Oh, well. Yeah, okay. Yeah, no,
anyway.
Maybe it's a failing of mine. I just have a hard time imagining her, accepting a mission from Christian,
Well, I wouldn't put it as a mission, 'cause I just think, okay, picture it this way. Say Claire didn't have a baby, right? And Christian shows up and he's like, I need you to come with me somewhere. it's important, blah, 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 and the fact that he's there is strange to her, and she thinks she should. You would imagine that she would go with him, right?
If she didn't have the baby?
If she didn't have the baby.
I'd be more inclined to believe she'd go if she didn't have the baby, yeah.
Okay, now, basically, in my mind, generally speaking, and all you have to do to reconcile this is to basically say she, for whatever reason, she believes Aaron will be safe when she's gone. And to me, as long as she believes Aaron will be safe and that part of her is satisfied, I think I can see her going with Christian. And I don't know if he says, trust me, your baby will be fine, or I don't know if they're really waiting in the jungle to make sure Sawyer gets him, or what we're going to find out. But I think, it was the same thing with Michael. I thought there's no way Michael's going to leave Walt unless he knows Walt is safe. And, he left Walt because Walt was with the grandmother, obviously safe. And I think as long as Claire knows Aaron is safe, it's okay for her to go with Christian. Because this is her dad. This is someone she never really knew. And he's showing up in this island in the middle of all this weirdness going on. And I think and not only that, but I think he probably tells her something that's really enticing.
Yeah, okay. The baby is just, it's just that, Sawyer's got it. It's in, it's not left in such a way that it's clearly in the care of someone who can take care of it, like Walt was. Mm-hmm. She just leaves it in this tree thing. If the baby hadn't cried out, maybe they never would have found the baby. Mm-hmm. It just doesn't seem like she was justified in believing that. Now maybe it's Claire and she's what also could have happened is
Claire, Aaron, and Christian could have gone off somewhere, and Christian could have brought Aaron back, right before Sawyer and them woke up, and set him on the thing. That kind of thing could have happened, too, where they all left together, but at a certain point, maybe Christian says, Claire, well, I don't want to say what I was going to say, but, at a certain point, Christian was like, let me take him somewhere that's safe or whatever, or she says that, I don't know, whatever happens, but I think it'll work out. It does seem weird, but I think they'll make it make sense. They're going to have to.
Okay.
Because she is a mother, then there's so much, parental, themes in this show that I think that they'd be remiss not to make that clear that she knows that he's going to be safe.
Yeah.
And this just dawned on me, but if Sawyer has to take care of Aaron for any amount of time, that might make him more inclined to tell Kate to check up on his daughter.
Yeah. Yeah, they could do that.
And I want to hand it to Sawyer. He was very protective of Claire this whole time. Mm-hmm. They've never really, been friends or anything.
No.
But it was nice that, I think Charlie would be happy, basically, that someone else is there to really, because, if Miles pulled something or anybody else, I think Sawyer would kill to protect Claire and the baby,
Yeah.
And I think that's saying a lot. So just a little round of applause for Sawyer.
Yeah. In general, Sawyer's been, quite selfless this season.
Mm-hmm.
He's stuck up for Hurley too.
Mm-hmm.
And he's definitely been pretty good this season. So I agree.
Yeah.
He deserves that round of applause.
Kudos to Sawyer.
Yeah, I wonder how long he's going to have this baby before handing it over.
Mm-hmm. I don't know. Maybe son will come in and help him or something. I wonder who he's going to try to give it to.
Yeah, son's
or maybe
always the standby baby there.
Yeah, she was.
And if she didn't have her own baby, I'd expect her to take Aaron rather than Kate. But
yeah.
But she's got her own baby. She doesn't need another baby.
Stop saying baby.
Sorry. Too many babies.
Else?
Just a general note about this episode. Let's see. We have Claire. Claire disappears. Jack, in the sense that she wanders off with no explanation.
Mm-hmm.
Jack sees his dad, an apparition of his dad, and the issue of who is supposed to raise Aaron comes up. Like these are 3 season 1 topics.
Yeah.
That came up, and I just thought that was odd. It was a weird episode for bringing up those issues. Those apparently long dead issues.
I wonder if it's just really like, because, my theory of Jack not, you're not supposed to raise him is really Jack needs to go to the island. But I wonder if they just phrase it like that just to make it connect, because they know these are old topics, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, we're all dead. Who's supposed to raise Aaron? Those are old topics. And, they could maybe, some of these things could have been presented in a different way, but they decided to present it in a way that, relates to stuff already on the show.
Yeah.
So it could be sort of meaningless is my point.
Right. Yeah, that it's not, those topics are dead, but they're just
connecting them.
Making casual reference to them.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not like who races Aaron is going to become terribly important in the future.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which I kind of have the sense. I mean, for Aaron's guardians or whatever, for who raises him to matter, I mean, a lot of time has to go by, for him to get old enough where it's gonna, where anything can really result from that. I mean, he, at the stage he is in the flash forwards, he's really too young to do very much.
Mm-hmm. Well, of course, that all depends on what the thing is, because it could be something he does when he's young. It could be.
I guess, but he can't. I mean, what could he do? I mean, he's,
I don't know. It depends on what they. Depends on what they want to happen.
I mean, it just can't be much. I mean, he's he's extremely limited.
I mean, it can't be a lot of things, but it could be some things. Like, if it's the idea that he has powers or will have powers or anything. It could be something like that.
Oh, well, yeah, okay. If it's
you know what I mean, like, or even something real world. Like, I don't know what change he could really affect, but it could be something. He says something or does something or draws something or points out something that's important. Like I said, it just all depends on what they would want to, what they're going for.
But then why would it matter who raised him? I feel like he just has to get older for that to, have an effect.
Yeah, but they could. Yeah, I understand what you're saying. I'm just saying it just depends on where they're going.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is they could make it matter. They could make it matter even when he's young. Who's raising him?
Yeah.
Maybe he's gonna grow up and he's gonna direct the last episodes of Star Wars, and if Kate didn't give him that little toy Millennium Falcon, he would have never thought to do that. So
where does that yeah.
I'm reaching, of course.
The Millennium Falcon that I didn't recognize. Yeah. Okay.
How do you not recognize the Millennium Falcon?
I've seen Star Wars, but I cannot name its vessels by sight.
Oh well.
That's a failing of mine.
I hope if you saw the Enterprise D, you would recognize what it looks like.
See, but I watched 7 seasons of Star Trek, that burns it in your mind, especially when they cut to that shot of the ship, at least 10 times an episode.
Yeah.
It's hard to forget that, but 3 movies,
mm-hmm.
I can easily forget that. I don't know. Oh, what's the Millennium Falcon? Is that Darth Vader's ship?
No. Oh my God.
I'm sorry. I'm revealing my ignorance here.
I'm not a hardcore Star Wars fan, but I know the ones who are just slapping their foreheads right now. No, the Millennium Falcon is Han Solo's ship.
Oh, okay. What's that? Yeah. Darth Vader has a ship with a name though, right?
Darth Vader is always on one of the Imperial cruisers or whatever. Those Isn't he? I don't think he has his own personal ship.
He doesn't
I think
have
there
a
was
ship
one,
with a name?
Well, there was one episode, I think, where he flew a TIE fighter, I think, if I'm not mistaken. But I don't think his ship has a name. I think he's just, I mean, you're not talking about the Death Star, are you?
Oh, maybe I'm talking about the Death Star.
Yeah, the Death Star wasn't his ship. I mean, that was a space station.
Oh, it was a space station.
Yeah, that was a space station. That
I
wasn't a
don't remember.
ship.
I thought it was a ship, and I thought it was his. Whose was it?
I mean, it was part of the, the Republic owned it. I mean.
But, was he in command?
I don't think he was in command. I don't think he was on it when it blew up. I mean, he would have blown up.
He didn't die?
No, I don't think he was.
But I thought maybe he just escaped or something, like.
I haven't seen it in a while.
I
don't even remember he had anything to do with that. Because in that whole part, I mean, that's when Luke has to go and shoot the exhaust port or whatever it is and blow it up. I don't know where Vader is at that point. I don't know Star Wars that well.
I don't either. I don't even know what episode that is.
I think that's the second one.
Second one? Yeah.
Probably. I don't remember.
All right. Well, I don't know. That's probably not important for Lost, but
no. Well, I gotta say, this was a short podcast.
Yeah, it sure flew by, man.
Before we started, I was thinking about this episode, and I'm like, there's not a whole bunch of long things to talk about, and I think we did pretty good about not going off on tangents today.
Mhm.
But yeah, interesting. Well, we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I don't know how we did this, and Ji-Yuan got so long. That continues to baffle me. But that's I agree. This episode wasn't about content. This episode seemed to me to be more about atmosphere.
It's more about the characters and little things they're going through, and set up for more stuff to come.
Yeah, and they have these sequences that take up time where they're building tension and stuff like that, and so it's just not a bunch of facts for us to digest. So, but I did like it. But yeah, that probably does make the podcast shorter. But it's still it's a respectable length. This is far from the shortest we've done. So
yeah, definitely.
So you guys can maybe finish it before the next one comes on this time. I know I'd be hard-pressed to finish some of the long ones in that shorter time, so.
Yeah. Just fast forward through the tangents.
Yeah.
It would be really cool if anyone who's listening works for TalkShoe. I thought have a cool feature, especially for podcasting, where you could basically, it would be some sort of live bookmark feature where as we're recording we could insert bookmarks into the track and sort of say, and then maybe even later be able to change what the title of the bookmark, but basically sort of denote different sections or denote a tangent or denote when we a spoiler or denote things like that. I think would be really cool.
Yeah, definitely for spoilers that'd be really nice because it's always if they when people say Lostcast does spoilers at the end, so you can just cut it off, when they do that. But if the spoilers are in the middle, it's always tricky to figure out how long you're supposed to. Some of the people note down the times, but it would be nice for that to just be able to.
Yeah, that's the thing, because if you don't write down the time, you can't remember, and then the other thing is when people are listening, they have to know what time to stop listening. That's harder than if they were listening to it in a certain way where they could see a little marker that says spoiler and they could go around it.
Yeah.
Or a section that says tangent, and if they don't have the time, they can just zoom past it.
Mhm. Yeah.
So get on that, TalkShoe,
please, and include it in your free version, please.
Yeah, not in the other version that's free.
No.
But in the version that you say it's free. Because the other one, we're not sure if it's free, even though it is free.
I couldn't have said it better.
I think you could have.
Well,
in your dreams. All right.
Okay.
So I think we're done. So
yeah, I mean, wow. Yeah, we'll be back next week for whatever it's called. I don't know.
Episode 411.
Yeah, but actually, I think I found out what it's called, but now I forget.
Continue with your closing remarks.
Yeah, this is my outro. In case you couldn't tell, we need a bookmark here.
Yeah, exactly. I'm gonna put on some music when we get too long. Do like the Oscars.
Yeah.
Put on some music.
And I want to thank my agent.
And
my wife, she was there for me.
Get off the stage, sir. Get off the stage.
Yeah.
Are you done?
Those Oscars. Yeah, no, I think I'm done. I mean, you know, the usual stuff. The forum, tllld.net. That's the place to go for Lost Lowdown and Lost-related stuff, discussion, I guess. And I think that's it.
All righty. Well, we'll see you next week, guys.
That's
Thanks
right.
and namaste.
Namaste and good luck.